Welcome everybody to the ALR 100% League. We're back for 2023 and we're going to have some more action for you. Round 7 coming up in the Algarve of Portimao, Portugal. So you're just loading into the lobby now, getting everybody into their cars, and we'll be underway for another exciting installment of the 100% League in just a few moments time. But welcome along to the stream everybody. I need to get the stream up because I haven't even got it open. Bear with me 1 second. Let me try and find it. Where is the stream? And yeah, welcome along, like I said, everyone, to the stream itself. And there we go. We've got the comment section up. Evening all from Serious Mushroom is the first one in there, or the first one I can see in there anyway. So welcome to you, Serious Mushroom. Evening to yourself as well. We are, like I said, just about to get underway for the Portugal Grand Prix. Of course, it's a short qualifying format because we want to get it done and dusted out of the way quickly. And then the 100% race, of course. So there we go. We are loaded in now. Well, I'm loaded in at least. Hopefully everybody else can get themselves in as well. And we will be cracking on for this race in just a few moments' time. Let's have a look and see if we can get the sound up. Hopefully the sound's working. Bear with me 1 second. See if the sound's not going to work now, isn't it? Typical sort of thing. Hopefully the game sound's coming through. It is coming through now, hopefully. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Had to sort out the settings because, of course, the technology does not want to work. But there we go, we are underway. Looks like Dan Murphy has lost his car keys once again, as he typically does. And we always have to take the mick out of Dan Murphy for losing his car keys, of course. But there we go. We're going to have, like I said, 66 laps around here. Not quite the devil's number, but almost the devil's number. As onto the track goes Jinner, who is going to be leading the way in the Williams, of course. Jinner doing a very good job this season, a very helpful job as well by hosting the lobbies. Otherwise, as we found out in Brazil, the first race of the season, if I get booted and I'm the host, then I can't get back in and I can't see what's going on, which is the big problem. But thankfully, with Jinner hosting, I should be able to get back in if there is any issues. But thankfully, in the last race or so, we saw, of course, Belgium and Spain in the last 2 races before the Christmas break, and then there hasn't been any issues, thankfully. Touch wood, that is. I've just given it a tap just in case, but my wood is not very big, so there we go. But yeah, Jinner there is going to be the first car out on track to take on the Portimao circuit, a very difficult circuit, a very undulating circuit as well, as you can see here through the hills of the Algarve. It's quite an interesting one in terms of the difference in terms of the length from the top to bottom of the circuit, I would say, because purely based on the telemetry of the difference in height around the circuit, it's probably, I think it's actually the most elevation change throughout a Grand Prix circuit. Is off the track goes a Haas there. I think it is there's only one Haas in the session. It's Serious Mushroom there having a problem. So hopefully that doesn't come back onto the circuit and get in the way. Here goes Jinner there to come round now to start his flying lap now through turns 2 now and 3. Serious Mushroom has been disqualified, so hopefully that Haas, like I said, doesn't come back out on the track. Otherwise it will be a hazard and a penalty for Mushroom, because it looks like it is coming back out on the track as well now, which is not good news as he's been disqualified from the session. Here goes Jinner now coming through into Sector 2, or just about to start Sector 2, and now coming up the hill. This is the dreaded turn where the traction just seems to disappear from you underneath the car, and if you get the power down slightly too early, it easily sends you into a spin. But he's managed to get through there very nicely indeed. Looks like there is game audio. Good stuff. Hopefully there is game audio anyway. Good stuff. Oh, it's off the circuit completely there, and I think that's just a case in point of putting the power down too early. McLaren's gone off as well there. I'm not quite sure, Liam. Yeah, everyone's retiring from the session at the same time, it seems. So good stuff indeed. Everyone's very keen to take part in this one, it looks like. And Jinner there, unfortunately, having a bit of a spin there on his flying lap. The McLaren there also of Kaidel, I think it was. Yeah, no, it wasn't Kaidel. It was Reflection on his outlap, who's having an issue. He's got past Jinner now. I'm not sure if Jinner's going to go for another attempt here. Sick as Muck goes fastest, or first driver to set a time. Reflection has decided to come back into the pits, so he's called it a day as well. Jinner has also followed him back into the pits as well. Sick as Muck there, like I said, the first driver to set a competitive time. Let's see what Kydell can do in the McLaren. Has had a good run in previous races, or apart from the last race of last year of 2022, he had a bit of a collision with him with a wall. But thankfully for Kydell, he's got a lovely run of podiums before that to give him some good points. AC Immortal there goes fastest with a 17.7 there, currently just over half a tenth ahead of Kydell in P2, so looking good for the front row as it stands. Sam Green there in the Mercedes going to be tackling through sector 2 now. Can he get himself through the dreaded corner of traction, or lack of traction that is, and now he has done very nicely indeed. But this is where Jinner lost the car as well on his previous lap. On the last lap we were watching, Sam Green is wise to the circuit there as well, making sure there's no mistakes. Another McLaren, it looks like, has had a problem coming through that difficult turn up the hill. I think it's just the momentum, isn't it? Goku has said evening all, good luck all as well, and evening to yourself, Styles from Serious Mushroom also as well. So good stuff indeed. Looks like not many people are going to be taking part in this qualifying session. Of course, it's a long race, so the qualifying isn't too important, as Sam Green there pops himself up into P3. Both the Mercedes there on the second row as it stands. Good stuff indeed from them. Ex-gamer there, I think, just setting a banker lap there just to set his sights in there. I think that's not the pace that we've been accustomed to from the Ferrari driver. Yamabro, the other Red Bull, is on circuit as well now. Both the Red Bulls are on circuit. Ollie is joining us as a reserve appearance, or his first reserve appearance in ALR, of course. So let's have a look and see what he can do as well. Swanshanks is back in his Alfa Romeo and now looking to get himself started. Once again, Jinner is back out on the track as well. But let's have a look at Yamabro. I think he's the next driver to cross the line. In anger, that is, and let's have a look and see what he can do round the final corner. Well, it is 2 corners technically, but the final corner, we shall call it. And up to the line, what's it going to be from Yamabro? It's going to be P6 there, 1:46. I don't think that is Yamabro's best time, as we've seen a lot better from himself as well. So I think he's just reset to go again. Here comes X-Gamer up to the line. What's it going to be from the Ferrari driver? He splits the Mercedes there, an 18.0 as well. Oh, just over a tenth off from Sam Green from getting that P3 spot is the Ferrari driver for now, but there's still time in the session for himself to improve. So stay tuned for X-Gamer to improve. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. I think it's just a car just going a bit slowly on their in lap potentially. And let's have a look and see where Ollie is going to be as well. Ollie coming through sector 3 now. He's got an Alpine, I think it is. No, it's a Williams potentially, going a bit slowly through the last few corners. But hopefully it doesn't get in the way of his flying lap as he comes round now the final corner onto the curb as well. Round the final corner this time, sorry, because all the corners all merge into one in my opinion. And now up to the line, the ERS light. Well, he has run out of ERS in that Red Bull, but he's puts himself nicely up into P5 there, an 18.556 for the debutant. Good stuff indeed. 11 seconds to go, and P5 for the Red Bull. P7 as well for Yamabro, who's off the circuit there. We just caught the end of that at the top of the hill in sector 3. And it's very easy to get yourself disqualified there, as I've done that before in my time. And thankfully, Yamabro is able to carry on. He's still in P8 with the slowest time set so far. But technically, he would be starting in the top half of the grid, which wouldn't be too bad, I suppose. But I think Yamabro is capable and probably wants to be a bit further up the order than that. Let's have a look and see what Jinner can do now, coming through into the end of sector 2 now. Let's see if he can keep the car stable through this section, which is where he lost it on his previous flying lap. Going round now into the downhill section, I should say, purple in the sector 2 as well. That is good news for Jinner in the Williams. We've seen him have a good qualifying in the last few events as well, before the Christmas break as well. Let's see what he can do. Can he carry that on into 2023 as well? Round the final corner. Around the penultimate corner, I should say, and now around the final corner, because here we come. Down the hill we go before we rise back up the hill to the start-finish straight, up onto the top of the hill there, and up to the line. It's P3 there for Jinner in the Williams, a 17.852, puts him a tenth behind Kydell in P2. That is not far off the front row there for Jinner. That is looking good indeed for the Williams driver. Of course, he's, like I said, had a great qualifying in the last few events. It's not gone well for him, unfortunately, in the races, so he needs to make sure he gets the points in the races. Of course, that's where the points do come, not in the qualifying, of course. Becca's back, says Serious Mushroom as well. Yes, of course, Welsh Maldonado is joining us in this session as well. Just looking to get back into some enjoyment of lovely league racing, that is. Here she is then in the Aston Martin, of course, partnering Dan Murphy in the other Aston Martin who's lost his car keys. The first driver of the session to lose his car keys, as a couple of drivers have done. But here comes Welsh Maldonado up to the line now. In the Aston Martin, it's going to be an 19.3 there, pops himself up into P8 there in the Aston Martin. Good stuff indeed. Swanshanks has set a time there at 21.0 in the Alfa Romeo. That pops himself up into P9 in the top half. Umabro is in P10. Everybody else outside of the top 10 have not set a time. Unfortunately for Hungry Stars, Dan Murphy, Liam Yett and Serious Mushroom, they will not be able to set a time at all because they have retired or disqualified themselves in the session already, which is a shame because that is 4 less drivers who we're not going to be able to see the best pace in their qualifying. Of course, it's the fastest time the cars will be going in this whole event, because of course the next time we see them, they'll be full of fuel to do the 66 laps they need to do around Singapore. No, around Portugal. Thank God we're not doing Singapore again. I got flashbacks there. Swanshanks there just crossing the line there to improve to a 19.3 as well, just 4 thousandths of a second behind Welsh Maldonado for P8 there, not too far off in the Alfa Romeo, and still time for him to improve in the session, so not too doom and gloom just yet. Good stuff indeed from Swanshanks. Welsh Maldonado, I think, just coming back to the pits as well. Sick as muck, just trundling down the pit lane to start his next out lap. And that is it for the time being. It's sort of calmed down at this stage. Let's see what AC Immortal can do. Can he improve on a 17.7? I'm sure he can. He's one of the quickest drivers in the division, of course, and has raced in the gold tier as well. We've seen the pace that he can set. So let's see what he can do now. Coming down to complete Sector 2. Once again, purple in Sector 2 as well. The Alpha Tauri car. And now round into the top of the hill, the highest point of the circuit, before going back down the other side of the hill, I should say. And now heading through the last couple of corners. We've got yellow flag in Sector 2 again. One of the Red Bulls just letting the other through, I think, there. And now up to the line. Let's see what Immortal can do. Can he improve on a 17.7? He can, by 4 tenths of a second exactly as well. He's down to 17.310, and it was a 17.710. So there we go. Good stuff indeed from Immortal there. 4 tenths of a second, almost half a second improvement on one lap. That is pretty good indeed, and that is him cementing himself in P1 for the time being. Yellow flags in Sector 3. It is for Ollie there, who's having a few troubles coming out of the final corner. I think just slowing down so he doesn't get in the way of anybody on his flying lap, as he's just starting his lap now. Sick as Muck is also on a lap. Let's see what he can do as well, coming round into the final corner. I think he's just about to start his lap actually here, because he's not used any ERS on this flying lap attempt so far. There we go then. Umabro is back out on track. Let's have a look and see what Umabro can do. 1:46.1 I don't think is a competitive time for Umabro. He's already 10 seconds up on that time in the first sector. So yeah, looking to improve massively on this time. I think just setting his sights in the first lap just to make sure he's got everything tweaked in the right order. And now looking to get his competitive time on the board. Up the hill he goes. He's lost the car there. Just saw it getting away from him underneath the traction there, and he's gone off the circuit completely. I don't know where he's gone there. He's got out of the way of his teammate, thankfully. But now, yeah, rejoining the circuit there. Unfortunately, Umabro there at the top of the hill. That is going to be the danger point, I think, in the race as well. We'll see a few drivers, I think, potentially spin there. Hopefully not, of course. But I think that's going to be the difficult sticking point for this Grand Prix, which is going to be coming up in just about 5 minutes' time. It is a difficult circuit, like I said, with the undulations throughout the whole lap, really, for each sector as well. It's not just one specific sector, as unfortunately Vintage has retired as well. He has not come out of the pits there, so he's just retired in the pit lane, just to have it happy to start P14 at best in the Williams, of course, tonight. Of course, he's familiar to the Williams in bronze, so looking to get some more points for them on the board in the joint constructors tonight in the Williams team as well. Sick as Muck does improve to an 18.1 there, up into P6. They're jumping Ollie into P6, and now Ollie down into P7 there. He has invalidated his lap, unfortunately, for Ollie. Going to have to go again and once again when he can get back to the pits, that is. Sam Green has gone faster still. up into a 17.5 there. He's got himself on the front row of the grid in P2, just behind Immortal there. X-Gamer is in P3, coming back into the pits as well. Kydell coming round now to start his lap. He's on a flying lap now, so let's see what the McLaren driver can do. Can he improve by a 1/10.5 or so to get that P2 back from X-Gamer and Sam Green? I think he probably can. Let's see what he can do now on this lap. We'll stay on board with the McLaren. We'll go on board with the McLaren as well, actually, through the hairpin now. Very easy to get confused with each other, put it that way, through there on lap 1. Very easy to get the braking zone wrong, especially when you're in a bunch of other cars. Coming round now up to the top of the hill. Is that an invalidation? No, he's gone wide, but he's managed to keep within track limits according to the game, that is. And now around into the end of sector 2. Like I said, another traction zone coming up here. Can easily get it wrong, but he's got it very spot on, in my opinion. And now coming up to the top of the hill once again, the top point of the circuit into sector 3 we go. Got a couple of corners to go. Can he bring it home? It looks like it's going to be a plain sailing for the McLaren driver right now, as he comes now round at the penultimate corner. Now power down. ERS is almost running out there. You can see that ERS is very easily drained around this circuit, and that will be the same in the race as well. Up to the line, going as close as he can to the pit wall. He's improved, but only just by 10,000th of a second there, unfortunately for Kydell. Not enough to bring the gap down to the drivers in front of him. So he has stayed in P4 for the time being, although a slight improvement there for the McLaren driver. Let's see what Swanshanks can do now. Unfortunately for Swanshanks, he's not retired. He has invalidated. So that is him done and dusted as well. Scooby Stew and Kaz are in the pits, but yet to come out and set a time. So I think they might do what the rest are doing and just stick in the pits, or stay in the pits, I should say, for this one. Good luck, driver, says Kaz in the comment section. So he is in the car. He's just admiring the laps that are being set at the time, at this time right now. So there we go. Everybody else is just getting themselves back out on circuit, or starting to get themselves back out on circuit anyway, as we begin the final phase now of the qualifying. 2.5 minutes to go. And once we've got the qualifying done and dusted, of course, there'll be a short pause as we look at the classifications and enjoy ourselves. And then we're into the full-on part. But of course, plenty of laps to go. So even if it starts off difficult, it can come back to you, as we've seen in plenty of the 100% races already so far this season. My favourite being in Singapore, when Lucas Percy in the Aston Martin, he started, I think it was P10 on the grid. He was at the back by about 30 seconds on lap 4. And came back to win the race at the end. So it was absolutely brilliant race from him in there. So there's plenty of points still on offer for all the drivers, even if you have a bad start to the race. So yeah, there we go. Gino there is back underway. I think Swanshanks is already on circuit. He has carried on. So he's on a second attempt here, is Swanshanks, as he comes now round at the hairpin and starts sector 2. Yellow flag just ahead of him, because there's a Ferrari there coming up over the top of the hill who's had a bit of a problem, I think. Swanshanks, let's see what he can do. Can he keep the car in a straight line? He can do perfectly. Well done indeed from Swanshanks there over the crest of the hill, and now into the end of sector 2. Can he go purple in this sector? Oh, he's losing the car then, the traction there. Like I said, very easy to spin the car with just a loss of traction, putting the power down slightly too early, and now that is him done and dusted, and he needs to make sure he gets the car back underway, otherwise he'll be stuck there, and that'll be him disqualified, and that'll be dropping him down the order as well. Currently in P9, it's not a bad position to start at least the race. Gonna get full wet, half then dry, says Serious Mushroom. I think there's a bit of weather coming as well, potentially in this race. Welsh Maldonado is coming through the hairpin now. Thankfully Swanshanks has got himself back going again. He's still got time technically to get himself over the line to start another lap if he's got enough fuel. He might not have enough ERS though at this stage. It looks like that ERS is going a bit low. Gino crosses the line for P4 there. A 17.7 there has improved to jump Kydell, and that is him up into P4 there. The second row of the grid is looking likely for the Williams driver as it stands at the moment. Good stuff indeed from him. Sickers Mark and Kydell back in the pit, so their qualifying is done and dusted, as is the qualifying for Yumabro. Swanshanks is also back in the pits after that spin. That is him done in qualifying also as well. Kaz coming through. He has got himself back out onto the track, I should say, because this is his first lap in anger in the session. But we'll come back to Kaz, as Welsh Maldonado is going to cross the line very soon. We have a Ferrari off the circuit. I don't know if that was Kaz across the line. Welsh Maldonado doesn't improve, I don't think, and that is her staying in P8 for the time being. X-Gamer, I think, was the driver off the circuit. It was, so he's going to be staying in P3 at best as well. Oh, sorry. Let's have a look and see what Kaz can do. Unless there's somebody else going to cross the line first. Let's have a look at Immortal first. We'll have a look at Immortal, see what he can do, as Jinder there is the next driver to cross the line, but he's invalidated on this run. So here comes Immortal now. Can he improve even more on a 17.3? That would definitely cement his pole position standing, and of course it's a run of pole positions as well for him. He's done another improvement there of a 2 tenths there to give himself a 17.100 on the board. 100 on the board for Immortal there, looking good for pole position, unless Sam Green can get something over the line on this lap as well. Jinner is in the pits. That is qualifying done and dusted, as X-Gamer has not been able to carry on as well. So that is Sam Green. He has improved almost by a tenth there, but that is him P2 on the grid. X-Gamer has retired in the pits. That is him done and dusted in the qualifying session as well. And that is quali done. So Amazing Immortal there was your pole sitter for the Portugal Grand Prix, round 7 of the ALR 100% League. Fantastic stuff indeed from AC Immortal, and looking good indeed for that from that pole position as well. Sam Green did a good job there as well, to be fair, to get himself on the front row. So that is good stuff indeed from the Mercedes driver that we've seen pick up a few podiums as well in the last few races. So let's see what he can do in this one. So here is your classification for the Portuguese Grand Prix qualifying. We'll start from the back, unfortunately, because there's not many people who set a time in this one. So Serious Mushroom there, Reflection, Liam, yeah, Scooby Stew, Vintage, Dan Murphy and Styles there didn't get a time on the board, unfortunately for them. Not looking good for them in the qualifying stage. We'll see what they can do in the race. Yamabro there didn't get a proper time in, a time that could match his actual pace, I would say, because I don't think a 46 is his actual pace. But he's starting P11 there, Swanshanks in P10, Welsh Maldonado P9, Kaz in P8, Ollie in P7, Sick as Muck P6, and then Kaidel P5, Jinner in P4, X-Gamer in P3. The front row of Sam Green and AC Immortal, your pole sitter, line up for the Portuguese Grand Prix in just a few seconds' time. Oh, it's a bit cloudy here in Portimao. Is there any rain? I don't think there's rain just yet. It seems to be a bit of a cloudy start to this race, as we have got the timer starting to tick down already. Yeah, blimey, that is it's definitely not as sunny as it was in qualifying, is it? And so we'll have to see if there's going to be any rain forecast. We were told, I think, there's going to be a few drops of rain here and there, but yeah, so I'm not quite sure when that's going to be coming. If it's going to be coming at the beginning of the race, it looks like they've got away with a dry start. But potentially the rain will fall quite quickly in the first few laps, so let's stay tuned. There is going to be some action in terms of the weather, and I think there's going to be some action on track when this all develops. But everybody's starting on the dry compound tyres, it looks like. Here we go then for the formation lap, just getting away now. Oh, Immortal there, having a bit of problems there on his formation lap as he started on the hard compound tyre. So he is actually looking to go long on the first stint, as he's really having trouble there setting his getting his tyres warmed up, and now taking out the brake marker boards as well, which will be reviewed potentially if people have got problems with that, as Sam Green is also off the circuit. Not many people having a good time, it looks like, warming up those tyres, unfortunately for the drivers. Let's have a look and see what everyone is starting on this time then. Serious Mushroom is starting on medium compound tyres from the last place on the grid, P18 for the Haas driver. Reflection they're starting on the softs, as is Liam, yeah, so they're expecting the rain to fall quickly. So that is an interesting strategy call there from those two. Scooby Stew on the hard compound tyres looking to go long, so potentially not thinking that the rain is going to fall too early on. Vintage there on the medium compound tyres in P14 in the Williams tonight, and then Dan Murphy in the Aston Martin as well from P13, also on the medium compound tyres. Styles in the Alfa Romeo in P12, this time on the mediums as well. But then we've got Yamabro in P11 on the softs as well. So there's softs all over the place. There's a couple of hard sprinkled in there, and then there's the mediums as well. Kaidel's been disqualified. Hopefully, I don't know what that was for. Hopefully it was just an incident on his own. Into the top 10 though, we've got Swanshanks in the Alfa Romeo as well on the medium compound tyres. Welsh Maldonado starting on the soft compound tyres in P9. Kaz on the mediums in P8. And then Ollie on the softs as well, P7, the highest of the soft starting runners. Sicker's Muck there on the medium compound tyres in P6. Kydell has unfortunately not taken part in this qualifying session, so his tyres going to be a bit colder, but he's starting in P5 there on the medium compound tyres. Gino on the hards in P4 on the second row. X-Gamer on the mediums as well in P3. And then we've got the front row of Sam Green on the medium compound tyres and AC Immortal, our pole sitter, on the hards. And we saw him having a bit of difficulty on the formation lap, getting those hard compound tyres warmed up. So I think Sam Green and X-Gamer might be excited about this one if they can get the jump on the current pole sitter. They need to line up on the grid first and get themselves all sorted in the order very nicely. But Welsh Maldonado, Ollie, Sicker's Muck and Kydell having a few issues with that, as well as Serious Mushroom. But nonetheless, we're onto the grid now. We're ready to get going. The 5 red lights are coming on in Portugal. Here they are. And the 5 red lights are off in Portugal as we've got a jump start there from, I think, Sicker's Muck. Yeah, it was Sicker's Muck there. He's got himself up into P2 there, but it was a bit of an illegal start there for the Mercedes driver. He has got the lead of the race. Ollie Jelly, I think, has got the other drive-through penalty there, unfortunately for them, but they're, like I said, will be able to be served within the first 3 laps, of course. Sam Green's got himself back past his teammate of Sicker's Muck. Sicker's Muck just dropping back down the order. He's lost the car slightly there. Ollie there coming through in P4 now. The 2 drivers with the drive-through currently P4 and P6, but like I said, they'll have to sort that out in the pit lane, of course, after this race. Liam Yeh has got himself up into P11. We're not quite sure what's happening here. What's happened here? There's an Alfa Romeo off the back there. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what is going on here. There's a bit of a mess under the VSC. The drivers just need to get themselves on with it, because otherwise it's just going to cause more issues if you keep stopping and starting on the track. And that is exactly not what you want, because that is just going to cause more further issues. Hopefully they've resolved everything and they can get themselves back underway. I think it's a VSC, I think, at the moment. There is no safety car on the track, and I think Styles has managed to catch up somehow and all of that. So yeah, I'm really not quite sure what caused that VSC as well, to be honest. Has Styles got damage? Yes, he has. That's probably what it is. Unfortunately for Styles there, he's got his front wing's completely off on that Alfa Romeo. Unfortunately for the Alfa Romeo team and for himself as well, he's going to have to come into the pits on this lap. The VSC is gone, which means it's good news now for Ollie and for Sicker's Muck. They can go into the pits, but unfortunately for Jenner, it's not good news as he's gone for a spin on the exit of the final corner there. The tyre's probably not warm enough, and he's just gone for a quick spin there, unfortunately, on the exit of the final corner. Ollie has gone in the pits there to serve his drive-through. He'll come out still, I think, within the battle, to be fair, within the fray. Hungry Styles have just got back to the pits as Kydell's had a spin as well from P5, I think it was. Unfortunately for Kydell, and he's carried on though, thankfully for him. Umabro is off the circuit. Dan Murphy is off the circuit as well. I think these tyres are just not warm enough at the moment. Scooby Stew picks up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting somehow. That is an interesting penalty there. Usually it's a 3-second, but I'm not quite sure what is going on here at the beginning of this race. I think everyone's tyres are just not up to temperature, and that is the problem at the moment. They're just making a few mistakes. They're coming through through certain corners where the traction, of course, is low. It makes it a lot easier to spin the car, and Scooby Stew has dropped to the back of the grid, back of the order, I think. There, I'm not quite sure if he's had another spin, but I think the problem with those hard compound tyres, as we saw with AC Immortal on the formation lap even as well, just trying to warm them up is difficult. And of course with the VSC, it makes it even more difficult, because you're just trying to get the tyres, keep the tyres going and cool them down. Styles has had another problem as well, coming across the over the top of the hill and now reversing over into the gravel trap. Unfortunately, he's gone a bit too far there. Hopefully he can get himself back underway as AC Immortal has gone through to take the lead of this race. Welsh Maldonado and Liam Yeh switch places as Welsh Maldonado is off the circuit and now having a spin as well. I think, again, those spins at the final corner seem to be catching everybody out there as Welsh Maldonado has now dropped outside the points. Vintage up into P10. Vintage up into P10. Jinner up into P11 there after recovering from his own spin. And like I said, it was Welsh Maldonado's back off the circuit. No, it's Dan Murphy off the circuit. No, it's not Dan Murphy. It's Welsh Maldonado. One of the Aston Martins is having a spin. Like I said, just need to stop pushing as hard and just make sure those tyres are the right operating temperature. And like I said, it's not as easy to say rather than to do, for sure. So thanks to all the drivers for keeping going so far. Dan Murphy's got past you, Mad Vintage and Ginner are switching places as well. I think that's a bit of team orders there from the Williams team. Of course, without a team principal at the moment, of course, if you're interested in applying, then you can apply for the team principal job at Williams. It is available now, as Josh Capito has decided to leave. So you can apply for that job at williams.com, I'm sure. So yeah, get your CVs ready and get your CVs handed in. You might need to be have some sort of experience in Formula One team management before you apply, though. I would say, as it looks like Scooby Stew having a few problems as well into the final turn. Kaz as once again off the circuit, as Sicker's Mark has been disqualified for ignoring his drive-through penalty. So that is him done and dusted in this race. His car has just gone off the circuit there, and that is him out of the race. I don't think he was that interested in serving his drive-through penalty. It didn't look like anyway, so he's decided to call it a day already. He's the only driver who is out of the session so far. We're only on lap 4, as your Mad Bro has also decided to quit in the pits there, and that is him done and dusted. As Welshman Arnaldo round the final corner is having issues as well on those soft compound tyres. Scooby Stew picks up yet another penalty there, as he goes through to claim. Wait, what's happened here? No, I thought he was slowing down there on the final corner, but it seems like everyone's having struggles coming through that final corner completely. So that is him done and dusted as well in the race for your Mad Bro, pitting and quitting. Unfortunately, that is him out of the session as well. So 2 out, and now we've got 16 left. We've got a yellow flag once again in Sector 2. Sector 1 this time, it's another Aston Martin. It is the same Aston Martin, unfortunately. Welshman, no, she's still doing a good job of keeping going. I think those tyres probably a bit too warm, as Kaz there at the top of the hill has had a spin. It's that traction zone there at the right hander going up the hill that has caught him out there as well, but he's managed to keep the car intact, that is, and in the right or working order, so he can keep himself get himself going in the right direction very quickly indeed. So not too much time lost there for Kaz as well. There we go then. Blimey, it's been an epic start to the Portuguese Grand Prix for sure, and like I said, it's been an interesting one as well. Swan Shanks and Reflection switching places into turn 1 with DRS assistance. I think Reflection's he's gotten the move done. Generator has got past Serious Mushroom as well. Those hard compound tyres now warming up, I think potentially, or just about, to use the extra pace. Now he's got unfortunately Serious Mushroom could not compete on that occasion. Here comes Swan Shanks trying to get back past Reflection, I should say. He's not been able to do it though. Reflection there stays P5 on the soft compound tyres. Yellow flag in Sector 3. It is for Welsh Maldonado once again. Unfortunately, Welsh Maldonado not having a good time there on those soft compound tyres. I think what you need to do there is just get in the pits and get off those soft compound tyres. They're probably a bit too hot now to be able to keep going at any pace, as there you go, exactly that. You just need to make sure you get yourself back in the pits and onto medium compound tyres that are going to be a lot cooler and be able to tackle the track a lot easier as well. Kaz picks up a 3-second penalty there. He's the second of the drivers now. Of course, we saw Ollie and Sicker's Mark pick up drive-through penalties for jumping the start, as Welsh Maldonado does make it back to the pits. But Kaz there and Scooby Stew, I think, have picked up penalties there for corner cutting, so that is going to be added onto their time. At the end of the race, here comes Sam Green. Sicker's Mark has left the session there. Sam Green takes the lead of the race there. He gets past AC Immortal for P1 on the circuit, on the track, that is, with the DRS assistance down at the main straight as well, and gets himself into the lead of the race now. X Game will be trying to get himself next past the AlphaTauri as well, but yeah, we'll have to see if he's got the pace, if he's got the power to use to get himself into the top echelons of the grid. These three are in the podium places are battling each other. They've got a big gap already to Liam Yare in P4, who's had a great start, to be fair, from Liam. He's up into P4 already from I can't remember where he started, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. But yeah, good stuff indeed from Liam Yare, getting himself up into P4 on the grid. But now AC Immortal was going to have to try and cling on to the back of Sam Green, but he's already lost that DRS detection zone. He's lost a second to the Mercedes already, which is going to be good news for Gamer if he can get himself past, because of course that will mean that he can use those medium compound tyres to the greater effect. Of course, what the other thing this will mean is that the hard compound tyre runners will of course be a bit slower in this first stint of the race, but they'll be a lot faster in the second stint when they go on to the softer or the medium compound tyres, the tyre compounds that are softer than the hards, that is. tyres, not just these softer compound tyres. They can choose to go onto the medium compound tyres if they wish. There we go, X-Gamer there moving past AC Immortal already with the DRS assistance. He's got himself into P2 there. AC Immortal dropping down into P3. Liam Yeh has done the fastest lap of the race. A good lap time indeed. He's brought that gap down by almost a second on that lap as well. With the battling with the top three, he's got that gap down to 4.5 seconds now on those soft compound tyres. That is good stuff indeed for the Alpine driver. Yellow flags, not yellow flags, just moves being made. Dan Murphy now up into P9. He's getting ahead of Vintage there, and these two drivers just resuming their consistent battle as they usually do. So yeah, like Dan Murphy and Vintage, probably the two most consistent drivers on the grid, I would say. But there's plenty of other drivers who would say otherwise, of course. But Welshman Nardo, unfortunately not one of them, but she's doing a good job nonetheless. He's got the hard compound tyres now on that Aston Martin. I think potentially the reason why those softs were causing her so much problems is because they were overheating. Like I said, it's very easy if you get the tyre pressures wrong to overheat the tyres around this track, especially if you're having a few spins to go with it. But now on hard compound tyres, I think that might be the right compound of tyre for the Aston Martin to use. Yellow flags as we've got a Red Bull having problems. It's Ollie having an issue at the top of the hill. He's got himself back underway, and he's not too far off the order now to get himself back within the range of the points paying positions as well. Sticking at it very nicely indeed. We're on to lap 8 already. We've been going through quite nicely, to be fair indeed, as Jinnah now is the closest battle on track. He's got Swanshanks in his sights. Let's see if there's going to be any moves made down the main straight. Here comes the Williams now, the Alfa Romeo. Both their red lights are flashing to indicate that they're running out of ERS. The electrical energy is running low as Jinnah does get past into P6. Here comes Swanshanks though. Can he get his nose down the inside into turn 2? No, not quite. He's going to have to stick behind in P7 for the time being, but can he bounce back? Can he make a move now down the second DRS straight? Here we go then once again. DRS is activated for the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be close indeed into the hairpin. I think he's going to have to back off here. He's going to go down the outside though. Ollie has gone back in the pits. He's got the hard compound tyres on now, so he called it a day on the softs and decided to put the hards on for that Red Bull. Swanshanks there doing a good job there. He's in P7. He's been overtaken by Jinnah, but he's sticking with him very nicely at the moment. Like I said, as a plethora. Oh wait, here we go. He's got himself back past as well as a 10-second penalty there for X-Gamer for cutting the corner. I think that will definitely be removed so long as he can finish the race, get the footage in there. X-Gamer, that will be definitely removed after the race because it looks like that's just a glitch there from Codemasters. So don't worry about that at all. If you can hear me, that is. That'll be removed after the race because that is very unfair. I see you went off the circuit, and I've had that happen exactly to me before as well. Been off the circuit, and then I've been actually disqualified rather than given a penalty. So yeah, it's very unjust from Codemasters, and that will be looked at after the race. And of course, I don't think you can serve those penalties in the pits either, so it will stick with his time. As here we go, once again, the resuming of the battle between Jinnah and Swanshanks. As Jinnah once again takes back P6. Swanshanks dropping down to P7. Serious Mushroom doing a good job there in P8. He's got Dan Murphy now for company in P9. They've dropped Vintage for the time being, but Vintage doing a good job in the points paying positions as it stands as well. But yeah, like I was saying, going back to X-Gamer as well, that penalty will be looked at after the race, so that we can remove that. Unfortunately for Liam, yeah, I don't think that penalty will be looked at after the race, but he's currently in P3. He has just picked up a 3-second penalty though, unfortunately for track limits, which is a bit of a shame, but nonetheless he's doing a good job in P3. Let's have a look. We'll have a look now as Ollie has picked up a penalty as well, the other Red Bull, and as he is coming across the line to start his next lap. But yeah, like I said, we'll have a look at the position changes now quickly, if I can get myself sorted. Scooby Stew picks up another penalty also, but Liam, yeah, switching places with X-Gamer. That's a bit of an interesting place to make the move there, as Vintage also picks up a penalty. There's a contact there between Liam Yeh and X-Gamer, and that is not what you want to see between the two drivers there. I think I'm not quite sure. I don't think there was any intent there from X-Gamer. I think it was just that he was coming across the coming around the corner, and that was just the back end trying to step out there. It wasn't anything to do with X-Gamer trying to cut off the Alpine or anything there. But the positions have switched back again, and yeah, I was going to say it's quite an interesting place to make a move anyway from X-Gamer in the first place, because it's not the ideal place to make the move, because of course you do not get DRS there. The rival behind that you've just overtaken then gets the DRS to re-overtake take you again. So yeah, unfortunately for X Gamer, they're not the ideal place to make that manoeuvre. Liam, yeah, like I was saying, up 13 places is Liam. Yeah, so started P16. Good stuff indeed from him. Reflection in P5 up 12 places as well. Looking good indeed for the McLaren team also. Gina, they're down 2 places, but done a good job of recovering. Yellow flag in Sector 1. No, it's Sector 2, isn't it? I think it's Welsh Maldonado off the circuit, yeah. Just making sure you can get yourself going once again. And like I said, cool those hard compound tyres down before you get the power down properly in anger once again, because I just need to make sure the tyres temperatures are in the correct window before really going for it. Like I was saying, out in the front, talking about really going for it, as Dan Murphy's got himself past Serious Mushroom there for P8. Talking about really going for it, Sam Green has got a gap now of 3 seconds to AC Immortal there. You can see the Mercedes driver heading down the main straight here, and AC Immortal is right behind him now on the main straight in the AlphaTauri. They've dropped Liam by 4 seconds. X Gamer is staying behind, but I think might have picked up a bit of damage there from the collision with Liam, unless it was the other way around, I think. But he seems to be dropping back now from the Alpine driver. He's outside of the DRS detection zone, which is coming up just here. He might just be within it on this occasion. Dan Murphy getting past Swanshanks this time into turn 1. He's got the move done and dusted in the Aston Martin. Good stuff indeed. He's gained 2 places on the last lap. Got past Serious Mushroom and now Swanshanks as well. Getting himself up into P7. He's got a bit of a gap now to Jenna there. He's got to bring down, but looking good indeed in the Aston Martin for the time being. I'm sure that Serious Mushroom and Swanshanks will be trying to battle back to get those positions back off Dan. X Gamer there is, like I said, just outside of that DRS detection zone from the Alpine of Liam. Yeah, so potentially Liam has decided to put the foot down. We saw Ollie come into the pits with 8-lap-old soft compound tyres. Potentially that means the softs are reaching the end of their life. We have to find out, of course. But it might be that they're reaching the end of their lifespan here, and that means that they're going to be putting the power down now quickly so they can get the best out of the tyres before they come into the pits. But we've done a sixth of the race. That is, we've done 11 laps now of the 66 that we have got to complete. So it's been a good start to the good first stint or so to the race. Unfortunately, not for Sick as Muck or for you Mad Bro. Sick as Muck there got a jump start penalty, drive-through, for a jump start penalty, and he didn't serve it. So he decided to just keep going round and didn't come into the pits to serve that drive-through. So that is him done and dusted. Scooby's Jew picks up another 3-second penalty there, unfortunately for him, in P13 as it stands at the moment. So Swanshanks there has been dropped by Dan Murphy, so now he's got Serious Mushroom to contend with. He's going to be looking in his rear mirrors, or rear view mirrors I should say, rather than looking ahead to see if he can make an overtake. He's going to have to be looking behind now, worrying about that Haas that's coming through. Yellow flag on the main straight is Welsh Maldonado, I think, just getting out of the way of the Ferrari coming through of Kaz, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was Kaz. I'm not quite sure. Yes, it must be Kaz. But there we go. Good stuff indeed. The closest battle on track is this battle here, just inside the top 10 for the final few points paying positions. Into the pits comes Scooby Stew from the hard compound tyres. Let's see what he's going to go on to. But Serious Mushroom there is coming through now into the Sector 2 or Sector 3 phase. Let's have a look. Yellow flags once again in Sector 3. And that is the other Alfa Romeo, I think it is. It's Styles there off the circuit. Unfortunately for Styles, he's having a bit of trouble there on those soft compound tyres in the final corner. He's got himself back underway though, thankfully, which is all good news. Welsh Maldonado doing a good job of getting the car back underway as well. So both those drivers doing a good job. Scooby Stew has pit for the soft compound tyres, so he's decided to get off the hard compound tyres now and onto the soft. Swanshanks and Serious Mushroom here battling away. Very much a lot of space there left by Serious Mushroom. Look at that, he's on the other side of the circuit, and that is exactly what we saw from I think it was Valtteri Bottas, wasn't it? And coming through, there's a bit squirrely there was Swanshanks on the entry to that corner, yeah, we saw from Valtteri Bottas, I think, trying to get out of the way of his teammate not Serious Mushroom of Hamilton. That was it. There we go, I've got the right now. And so there we go. And we saw Bottas there going onto the dirty side of the track and just disappearing off in the dirt, and then losing so much time after the parts had been made that then it really just cost him extra time that he didn't need to cost himself really. And I think that's exactly what happened there to Serious Mushroom. He lost himself a lot of time there going on the dirty side of the track. He's now got a gap of half a second to Swanshanks, but they're being caught, I think, here by as Ollie has retired in the pits there Thankfully, he's not on the circuit, so that is unfortunately he's pit and quit, which is not good news. But that is him out of the race and out of the running now for the rest of this session as well. That is 3 drivers out now, which is a big shame. But everybody else who is still going is doing a fantastic job indeed. So hopefully that Red Bull doesn't get in the way of anybody here, as we've got Vintage Ginner first coming down at the into turn 1. Yeah, so fingers crossed it doesn't get in the way of anybody as he comes around now, as it is a ghost car, thankfully. Of course, ghosting is on, as Hungry Styles gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane there, and that will be added onto his race time as he also pits and quits. Unfortunately, that is him done and dusted in this session as well, which is not good news. Very unsatisfying indeed, but there we go. Yeah, I think we're going to have to think about reformatting this league, but we'll have a look at that after this race, shall we? But there we go. Like I said, it's not fun trying to commentate on it, put it that way, if you've got only 3 runners left. But there we go. We'll come back to that one as when the race has finished, of course. But yeah, at least he tried. Yeah, so yeah, a bit of a shame there. We've got about a quarter of the way through the race, and now we've lost 4 drivers in this race. Both the Red Bull drivers are out, as is Sick as Muck and Hungry Styles, who have pit and quit basically. Welsh Maldonado is still going in this race though, which is good to see because she's struggled the most, but done at the best in terms of keeping going in this one, which is exactly what you want to see from committed drivers. There we go, Dan Murphy as one of the committed drivers as well, coming round to the final corner now to see if he can line up a move on Ginner, going through onto the main straight. Ginner there pulling off to the right hand side, once again the dirty side of the track. But trying to get away from the slipstream of the get rid of the slipstream, sorry, to the Aston Martin behind him, so that he doesn't get an extra pace advantage down that main straight. And there we go. Then he has got the move done. Yellow flag somewhere in the background. I think it's Scooby Stew off the circuit there, having a problem there at the exit of turn 1. And that is him back. He's got himself back underway now. Ginner and Dan Murphy have switched places into the hairpin, and that is close battles indeed, close quarters indeed. And I think Dan Murphy's got the move done. He's up into P6 now, and that's the move for the Aston Martin up into P6. Very nice indeed. Scooby Stew has once again overheated those tyres and can't get himself back underway again, unfortunately for Scooby Stew. That is why he's having a bit of a problem there in Sector 1 at the moment. But if he just needs to keep those tyres cooled and get those tyres cooled, and then he'll be okay for the rest of the race. But there we go then. Ginner and Dan Murphy switching places. Kydell now up into the points after getting past Vintage in Sector 2. Heading into Sector 3 now is the McLaren driver after having to make a recovery as well. He had a bit of a difficult start to the race. Let's have a look and see where he started. He started down, started up in P5, I should say. So he's dropped outside of the points there. Not sure what he's trying to do there, but he's now weaving around, which is not going to help his cause, I don't think. What's my perfect Sunday? What do you mean, ice cream or day? I'll have to wait for him to come back now. But anyway, I've been asked about my perfect Sunday, but I'm not quite sure. I do know the quote. Well, I can't remember what movie it's from actually, or where it's from actually. But my perfect Sunday. Oh yes, it's from Hot Fuzz. I think it's from Hot Fuzz anyway. But there we go. My perfect Sunday is Kydell and Vintage once again battling away. Blimey, that was a bit late on the brakes, I think, there from Vintage. My perfect Sunday, what would I do? Well, Formula 1 on Sunday, of course. Maybe a bit of watching the football, playing a bit of football, but nothing too strenuous. So yeah, that'll probably be my perfect Sunday. How about yours? Yes, and my perfect Sunday is just lots of ice cream and chocolate sauce and other things on top. So yeah, there we go. Good stuff. We're almost a third of the way through now. Reflection has called it a day now on the soft compound tyres. So I think he's done 15, 16 laps there on the softs. That is pretty good indication there of what we're going to get out of the soft compound tyres at least. Dan Murphy now into the pits. Not Dan Murphy, sorry. Dan Murphy now up into P5 after getting through. After Reflection has made that pit stop onto the medium compound tyres goes the lead McLaren. He's going to be down outside the points just He's going to be in P11 there as he comes out of the pits now, but not too far behind Vintage and his teammate there in P9. So still within the realms of some good points paying positions. So good stuff indeed from Reflection there. Looking to make the first sort of scheduled pit stop, I should say. There's a few drivers who made pit stops already. Most of them are out, unfortunately, now. But there's a few drivers who made pit stops already, but they have been unforced errors, really, that have caused them to make an extra stop or an earlier stop. But Reflection there just needs to make sure he's gone a bit deep there into the hairpin, as we've seen there. But he needs to make sure those tyres are warming up nicely on this lap so that he can get himself underway on the medium compound tyres. So I'm looking like a soft medium potentially for the likes of Reflection. We'll have to see if that's going to be the right strategy call. Yellow flag in sector 1, I think it is. It's not Liam Yeh, because Liam Yeh is coming in the pits. I think he's doing the same there as who just pitted? Reflection did. Sam Green. Oh, there's all sorts of action here. Sam Green's lost the lead. He's had a spin there at turn 1, and he's lost the lead. He's lost 4 seconds as well to AC Immortal. That is not good news. X-Gamer is carrying on. Dan Murphy now up into P4 as Liam Yeh comes back out on medium compound tyres. He, of course, started on the soft compound tyres as well. So he's on the same sort of strategy as Reflection. Where will he come out, though? Will he come out ahead of Serious Mushroom? No, he won't. Swanshanks has gone through as well. Kydell, I think, will come through also. Yeah, Liam, yeah, it's a dangerous pit exit here as well, because it cuts through turn 1, doesn't it? And of course, if you're swinging your car in from the wide position of the entry of turn 1, and then there's a car coming out of the pits, it is not a good position to be in. As Reflection picks up a penalty there for a multiple track limit warning. Liam, yeah, coming back out in P9 there. He's not far off the lead McLaren now of Kydell, of course, who hasn't made a pit stop just yet. Welsh Bandana picks up a 3-second penalty there for corner cutting, unfortunately for her. And I think it's one of those glitches again, because she's now having problems in sector 3, but she's got herself back underway, I think. Good stuff indeed. Right then, it's calmed down a little bit now, as Ayrton's not told me what his favourite Sunday is, or what his perfect Sunday is. But there we go. I think so the gaps are now sort of increasing through between all the drivers now, just because the extent of the race has started to take its toll. I think, as we've seen 4 drivers already out in the first third of the race. We're at the third way point, well, almost. We've got another couple of laps to go before we get to a third with the distance, but it's been an exciting one so far. But yeah, good stuff indeed from all the drivers who are still in this race. It's not been an easy one. Like I said, we weren't prepared for an easy one anyway, because it was always going to be a difficult track to tackle, especially with the undulations throughout the circuit and the loss of traction through a lot of these corners. And it looks like, well, I'm not quite sure if we were predicted rain. I thought we were going to be predicted rain at the beginning of the race, but it looks like it's decided to stay away for the time being. Hopefully it doesn't mean it's going to come back later on in at the halfway point in this one, in the next few laps or so. But at the moment it seems to be a-okay for the time being. Unfortunately for Sam Green, he needs to recover now. He's got himself back in within the 4 seconds of AC Immortal, but unfortunately that spin has cost him the lead and potentially the win of this race. In P2 now is Sam Green, after having about a 3.5 second lead. He is now 3.5 seconds or so behind the race lead. So unfortunately, that spin's cost him about 7 or 8 seconds there, unfortunately for the Mercedes driver, but looking to get himself back underway. Rank the Cornetto trilogy in order. I don't know a Cornetto trilogy. I just like the strawberry one, if that's okay. I'm sorry if people don't like the strawberry one. Anyway, coming back to Kydell. Kydell trying to run for move now for P7 there. He's done a great job of recovering in this race after having a difficult start. He's already got himself up into P7. They're getting past Swanshanks before the braking zone of turn 1. Oh, mine is, says Ayrton, so I think he's trying to figure out what his favourite one is. Liam Yeh gets himself up into P8 as well now. Those fresh medium compound tyres are warmed up and ready to get going now for the Alpine driver. Hot Fuzz says Ayrton, yes. Cornetto trilogy? No, I thought they just go to the shop and get a Cornetto. I'm confused now. I know Cornetto, if that's what you mean. Cornetto. Anything from the shop. But anyway, I'm just going to start sitting here and commentating Hot Fuzz quotes. Swanshanks there is off the circuit. He's had a problem there at the corner of the problem circuit, problem corner of the problem circuit, corner of the circuit, which is causing problems. It seems to have caused a few problems already for a few drivers as well. Liam, yeah, is doing it all right there, as Nightbot is getting in the conversation as well about the cornettos. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, World's End. It might just be in that order, to be fair. But maybe Shaun of the Dead's pretty good. I'd have to say. Is it better than Hot Fuzz? I think it is that order. It's Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and World's End in my personal opinion. But yes. So I think I agree with you there, Ayrton, but I'm not quite sure. Hopefully I do, as Swanshanks has entered the pits. Here comes Liam, yeah, now lining up a move on Serious Mushroom. Mushroom there just seems to have lost the brakes there, as he's jammed the brakes on, and that is costing my place now. P6 now for Liam. He's doing a good job in this one. He has got himself past Serious Mushroom now, and now has got a 7 or just under an 8-second gap there to Jinner in P5 there to see if he can get himself back up the order. Swanshanks has come back out onto the track. He's in P12 now on the soft compound tyres, so that is good news for him. He's going to be he's having a problem there trying to get the car on the track, though. Keep the car on the track, that is. He's got the job done, but hopefully he's got himself sorted there. Reflection getting past Vintage now into P9. Vintage, of course, yet to pit, and Reflection there doing 4 laps so far on the medium compound tyres. He's dragging that car through the on the track, though, so that is going to cost him a bit of time there if he keeps using that drag. The underfloor there scraping along the bottom there, creating the sparks as Liam, yeah, sets the fastest lap of the race, a 20.909. Kydell gets himself past Serious Mushroom as well. P7 now for Kydell, after he was in P7, but Liam, yeah, of course, overtook him to gain that place back. So there we go. Unfortunately, Ayrton, I think we've just dulled the conversation now in the stream with our lovely Cornetto chat. But there we go. Yeah, I like Paul as well, but it's not really the same type of film. But I like Paul, the alien one, when they go to America and they find an alien, and then they become friends with it. I think that one was good. But yeah. So right then, we are, like I said, we're a third of the way through, and now we've got a few more pit stops to come, I think, in this one. Dan Murphy's got himself up into P4, yellow flag in Sector 2. It is Welsh Bernardo who's having a bit of trouble there coming up the hill. As again, she's like I said, got herself back underway. Jinner there just trying to hang on to the back of the Aston Martin of Dan Murphy to keep that DRS for the Williams driver. The ERS light is flashing there on that Williams as he comes across the line to start his 23rd lap of the race. But like I said, it's been an extensive race already so far, and we're only a third of the way through, so there's going to be plenty more of action to come. Like I said, 10 more laps to go before we are at the halfway point, and that is when I think we're expecting rain. As we heard from Serious Mushroom, I think, in the comment section, that there's going to be rain coming in the last few laps. Well, no, in the second half of the race, sorry, I should say. So there we go. So yeah, we are expecting a bit of rain to come in the next phase of this race, but exactly when it's going to fall, we do not know. So come back to us on that one. It looks like Welsh Bernardo having another problem there at the exit of turn 1. Like I said, I think just getting the setup right on these cars is difficult enough, especially around this circuit. It is very easy to lose the car, and if you get the roll bars wrong, if you get the tyre pressures wrong, it will punish you around here for sure. I remember doing a race around Zandvoort and leaving the tyre pressures on maximum on all 4 tyres. It was horrible because I was constantly spinning, and it was not a good time indeed. I think the medium compound tyres might be getting towards the end of their lifespan here, as it looks like Jinner has been able to keep up very nicely with Dan Murphy there on those hard compound tyres. I think the hards are now the optimum tyre, but I think, like I said, there's a few drivers who pitted on the soft compound tyres as well. Here comes Jinner now into turn 1. I think that's a bit too late to make a move there. So yeah, Dan Murphy there covering it off very nicely. He knew not to worry. He was going to be all right. Next game was off the circuit there, and that could be interesting there for Dan Murphy and for Jinner as well, as the Ferrari ahead of them in P3 is off the circuit. Had a problem there at the exit of turn 3. Also another place where you just lose a lot of traction, and Dan Murphy's now caught up to the back of here of the Ferrari as well. This is good news for Dan Murphy and for Gina as well, as Gina probably will be carrying on in a few laps time when these drivers do make their pit stops. But now X Gamer is going to have to try and get himself out of the DRS range of the Aston Martin now that's filling his wing mirrors, so he can get himself safely away and keep his podium place intact. But looking good for the time being now as X Gamer trying to get himself back underway and get himself safe. Sam Green has dropped off a bit from AC Immortal. I think it might be time for a pit stop, but it looks like he's carrying on for the time being. So he's done 25 laps now on those medium compound tyres, or 24 laps I suppose you could say, because we're on lap 25 now. Here comes Dan Murphy. Ginner's picked up another 3-second penalty there coming round. How has he done that? I don't know how you can do that. I suppose you can on the exit of the penultimate turn, not the final turn. But Ginner has got the DRS. Here comes Dan Murphy now with the DRS as well. Down towards turn 1. The ERS light is flashing on the Aston Martin, but no moves are made. He's got out of the DRS range instead of Ginner, though, in the background there. Ginner having a few troubles coming through turn 1. Into the pits comes Serious Mushroom there. 24 laps now on those medium compound tyres are done and dusted. He is into the pits for the Haas team. Let's see what he's going to go on to. It's going to be Vintage up into P9 there. Of course, Serious Mushroom there might drop out of the pot. I don't think he will. He might stay in P10 for the time being. And let's see what he's going to go on to. He's back onto a new set of medium compound tyres. So, of course, we'll have to stop again for a different compound of tyre. If of course, that is, it stays dry in the race in total. Of course, if it does rain, then they don't have to use 2 different sets of tyres. They can use whatever sets of tyres they want. So you can go medium, sorry, with a bit of rain at the end potentially, if that's what Serious Mushroom is predicting. But he needs to make sure he predicts that right, because he can't, of course, finish the race now unless he uses a set of softs or hards at some point in this race if it stays dry. So there we go. Then that is the casualties, or the list of what he needs to do and what he needs to not do. As here comes Dan Murphy. Hopefully Serious Mushroom can listen to me and finish the race in style. But here comes Dan Murphy now into turn 1. No, he backs off slightly, thinks better of it. Scooby Stew, I think, having a problem there. Is it Scooby Stew? Yeah, Scooby Stew there going. He's rolling back down the hill there, unfortunately for the AlphaTauri driver. He's got himself back underway, which is good news. And now, yeah, we can get himself back going onto the circuit. Welsh Malnado is also going still as well, which is good news for everybody. Like I said, thankfully we've still got 14 drivers here because, like I said, 4 drivers who've decided not to take part anymore. Ollie, UMAD Bro, Hungry Styles, and Sick as Muck, all pitting and quitting, unfortunately, at this stage of the race, which is not good news because it makes it very boring for me to commentate on. But thankfully, Ayrton has entertained me with his hot fuzz. Not an innuendo of that. So there we go. But Dan Murphy now in P4, looking to get a move onto the podium here. I think he's struggling on those medium compound tyres though, just trying to correct the car as Ginner trying to dive down the inside. That was a late move once again from Ginner. I think that's going to cost him. Here goes X Gamer's off the circuit though. X Gamer's had a problem there on the top of the hill. He's gone wide, and that has cost him at P3. Dan Murphy up into P4. Actually, X Gamer might be able to use the DRS now to his advantage to get himself back up into the podium places. Let's have a look here and see if he can make any moves back. But Ginner now is going to be lining up an interest as well. Here comes X Gamer now into turn 1. It's going to be close indeed between all 3 of them, but no positions are changed. So it stays as it was for the time being. Dan Murphy now into the podium places. No penalties for Dan Murphy as well, which means that he'll be able to hang on to that podium place should it finish as it is now. But we're almost at the halfway point of the race. There's still plenty of laps to go. So maybe X Gamer and Ginner can get themselves up the order. Both of them trying to distract Dan Murphy, getting in the wing mirrors of the Aston Martin. But we've seen from Dan Murphy in plenty of league races that he's a seasoned veteran and will not be put off by that sort of antics. So Swan Shanks there picks up a penalty, unfortunately, for Swan Shanks there. Gets another penalty for a 3-second or three warnings off the circuit. Ginner has got past X Gamer on those hard compound tyres. He's got the traction now. I think the mediums are done. potentially. I might be wrong, but it looks like the mediums are done just because of the pace of the hard compound tyres at this stage of the race. Even though 26 laps on the hards as well, does look like quite a lot of laps have been done on those tyres. Also, I think they've got enough grip, enough wear left on the tyre just to compete at the moment, and the medium compound tyres I think are just running out of speed of grip now. As you can see, Sam Green as well was about 3 seconds behind AC Immortal. He's now 5.4 seconds, so I think the mediums are done and dusted. Liam Yeh comes through. He's done 10 laps on those medium compound tyres, looking to do a 2-stop I think in this race, so we'll have to see what Liam can do. Onto the hards goes X Gamer, so he's going to go onto the long duration stint. Potentially, will he get to the end of this race? We'll have to find out. He's done 27 laps on the medium compound tyres, almost the halfway point, and of course the hards will last a bit longer, so that might potentially mean that X Gamer can get to the end of this race now on those hard compound tyres. Tyre warm-up's going to be a bit of a difficult one for the time being, though. Vintage is going to be all over the back of him now. He's done 27 laps on his own medium compound tyres, has Vintage, so he'll be feeling the effects that X Gamer has just got rid of in the pit lane. Star has said, sorry for he's lost connection with my wheel and need to fix it. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Again, into turn one, I'm not quite sure what's going on there as well, because X Gamer and Vintage, they're having a few squabbles into the hairpin, but normal service has resumed. Into the pits goes Sam Green from P2, and he's got himself back underway. I think he's going to be switching onto the hard compound tyres potentially as well, and then going to the end of this race. Let's see. It might be the hards as well, it might be the mediums, but he's onto the hard compound tyres there, so he's doing the opposite same strategy as X Gamer here. 1 lap later though, so he's going to have a slightly fresher tyres than X Gamer, and he'll come out in where will he come out exactly? I think he'll come out ahead of Kaidel as Kaidel enters the pits. Liam Yeh picks up a penalty there, unfortunately, for track limits, but he's going to be into he's in P3. Jinner there comes back through. There's more contact there from Jinner. Not quite sure what that was, as Jinner there is on much older hard compound tyres. Liam Yeh does get the position done and dusted, and like I said, on the fresher medium compound tyres, I think he's got the extra grip and the extra pace that he needs to get himself back up the order. They're looking good indeed in the Alpine for the time being, as Serious Mushroom has now got himself back up into P9, as Vintage has entered the pits. He's on to more medium compound tyres though, is Vintage, and needs to get himself out of the pit lane. And Kaz has got past as well, as has Swanshanks. Of course, those drivers yet to will have to make another pit stop very shortly as well. So that will not too bad news for Vintage. He can get himself back up in the order. Jinner there has got himself, he's like I said, battling away with Liam. It looked like it was a bit of an elbows out type of battling as well between the two of them, but now he's lost the position to the Alpine driver. Now just trying to get himself around the final corner, and he's still within the DRS range there of Liam, but he's coming into the pits now at this stage. Picks up a 5-second penalty, unfortunately, for speeding in the pit lane. That is going to cost him at the end of the race. At the moment, he's got a gap though, which is not too bad, so he'll be able to at least try and keep some good points for himself and for the team as well. Sam Green there, who's just pitted on the hard compound tyres, regains P4, that is. Reflection there gets P5 as well after doing 13 laps so far on the medium compound tyres. I think on the two-stop strategy, Reflection there, as I was just commentating on him, gets a penalty, so that is a commentator's curse if ever you've seen one. Jinner there comes out in P6 there. That's good news for Jinner. He's ahead of X Gamer as well, who might have had a bit of a problem there on this last lap, because he's lost a lot of time there to Jinner. I swear Jinner was behind. I think Jinner was actually involved in the battle with himself, X Gamer, and Dan Murphy. Dan Murphy yet to pit at this stage of the race, and Liam now on his fresher tyres is all over the back of him already, and looking to get himself back through into P2 potentially. This could be a podium finish for Liam starting in P16, I think it was. That will be a driver of the day candidate for sure, and I think might be my favourite for driver of the day, so there we go. But he needs to finish there first. We're almost at the halfway stage, and now with DRS available to him as well, can he get himself past the Aston Martin? He's got to get past the ghost of his rival Scooby Stew first. Here comes Liam now down the main straight. ERS and DRS is available to him. He's going to pull out into the right hand side, and he's already passed there as they go into turn one. Move is made, and that is P2 there for Liam. Good stuff indeed. Dan Murphy almost in the back of him there as well. That is not good news. Scooby Stew there in the background picking up a 3-second penalty as well for his troubles. But Dan Murphy there, I think, on those older medium compound tyres, knows that the knows that the jig is up, and the move is done there. Liam, yeah, much fresher mediums. Oh, he's had a bit of a spin there, loss of traction there on the exit. Here comes Dan Murphy now. He's going to be very interested in the back of that Alpine now, but still, it's going to be a quite difficult place to make a move in this part of the circuit, unless there's a mistake for another driver around him. But Liam, yeah, does keep hold of that P2 for the time being. And yeah, of course, with the fresher medium compound tyres, can now set his sights on extending the gap to Dan Murphy and decreasing the gap to AC Immortal. If any problems happen to AC Immortal, then potentially Liam could be in line with a win, in line for the race win as well here. We'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds. We've only, like I said, only halfway through this race. Yellow flag in Sector 3. As I said, that is not AC Immortal. It's, I think, Scooby Stew, who is off the circuit here at the top of the hill there. He's got himself back underway, thankfully, and that is him done and dusted. Well, not done and dusted. He's back underway, which is good. So there we go. Serious Mushroom there in P9. He's the closest battle on track as Dan Murphy does enter the pits there. Sector 3 yellow flags once again. I think it's just Scooby Stew trying to get himself back underway too quickly. 17 laps on those soft compound tyres is not going to be ideal for anybody, I don't think. Swanshanks and Kaz switching places. Dan Murphy's coming out of the pits now as Scooby Stew's once again off the circuit, again trying to push too hard through the final corner. Jenner sets the fastest lap of the race on those fresher medium compound tyres. He's going to come out close to Dan Murphy. It's going to be very close indeed as he gets a 5-second penalty now for Scooby Stew for pitting and quitting, basically. Well, he would have got a 5-second penalty added onto his race time, of course, speeding in the pit lane. Now he's going to have a 5-second penalty added onto his race time for the next race. So either way, I suppose he's got 5 seconds penalties. There we go. So that is that either way, I suppose. Dan Murphy there has come out behind Ginner now, 3 seconds behind Ginner, and now X Gamer is going to be all over the back of him as well, with slightly warmer, fresher, or not fresher, but slightly warmer tyres on those hards. Of course, both of them on the hardcore man tyres into the deeper uphill right-hander. He's got the move done as X-Gamer. That was an audacious move. He's made the move stick, though, very nicely indeed. And there we go, up into P6 there for X-Gamer. Down into P7, of course, trying to get those hardcore man tyres warmed up on the Aston Martin is Dan Murphy. But he's going to have to take it takes about a lap or so, doesn't it, to get those hardcore man tyres fully warmed up. And there we go then, and I'm back underway for the pair of them. X-Gamer, they're trying to repair the damage there. Of course, he was battling with Ginner, with Dan Murphy as well, but now they've lost out quite a significant gap to Ginner as well on those medium compound tyres. Of course, I don't expect them to get to the end of the race because we saw them do about 25 laps before they started to fall apart on the first stint. Of course, there's less fuel in the cars now as well, so they'll be a bit lighter, and that will mean they'll be better on the tyres as well. There we go. Right then, halfway point, so we can have a bit of a break, I think. Everyone have a breather. We're almost there. We've got another 33 laps to go, though. And like I said, we've got weather looming as well, apparently, according to Serious Mushroom. Before the race started, we've got weather on the way. So we'll have to wait and see when that's going to strike. It currently looks nice and sunny. It did start off quite gloomy, didn't it? And in the pit lane at the beginning of the race. But thankfully, it's improved its conditions so far. The first half of this race has been nice and sunny. So hopefully it carries on like that for the next 33 laps or 32 laps now. So yeah, we're going to be eking away the lap time now. It's like I said, looking good indeed for the drivers involved, that is, and yeah, carrying on very nicely indeed in this one. No moves made there by Dan Murphy there into turn 1. X-Gamer just still in P6 currently. Here comes Serious Mushroom. Can he make a move into turn 1 on Kai Dale for P8? Still no moves made. It's going to be staying status quo as it is at the moment. But currently, like I said, there's going to be a few more strategy calls to come. Swanshanks there on the soft compound tyres, I think, will be having to switch onto a more durable tyre to get themselves to the end of the race. Kaz has just pitted there for the soft compound tyres, so that is an interesting strategy call there for him as well. looking to have a quick stint there, but of course that will mean that he has to make another pit stop very shortly in this race. Welshman Noddo is up to 27 laps now on those hard compound tyres. We can see the leader of the race, AC Immortal, has done 34. He's done the whole race so far on those hard compound tyres. It's looking good indeed for Immortal there, currently in the AlphaTauri. He's coming up to lap A Williams there. Yeah, looking good indeed, as Liam Yeh has brought the gap down now to just over 20 seconds between the top two. But of course Liam Yeh on the fresher medium compound tyres will be looking to make another stop as well, so that will equal it out there between himself and AC Immortal, as of course they will cross the line. We've got yellow flag in sector 2, just as I said. That Welshman Noddo's had another spin, unfortunately for her, as they come around now the last couple of corners of sector 2. And there is the recovering Aston Martin, just getting herself back underway, and there we go, through into sector 3 we go. So, like I said, AC Immortal there is what is he going to do in this race? Is he going to pit very soon for the medium compound tyres to go to the end, or is he going to try and go onto the softs potentially and go for a interesting strategy call and go soft to the end? We'll have to find out, of course. Of course, the drivers do use quite a lot of the soft compound tyres in the qualifying format, because there's no rule now in Formula 1 where you have to start on the tyre that you set your fastest lap on in qualifying, that is. So there's now no rule on that. So basically they can start on whatever tyre they want, and they can start on fresh tyres as well. So basically what it means is that they might have used up a lot of the soft compound tyres in the qualifying just to get themselves further up the order of the grid, but that will mean that they've got less soft compound tyres available to them in the races. So that does come back. It does come back to bite you if you do get it wrong. Of course, if you want to use more soft compound tyres in the race, that means you need to use less in the qualifying as well. But yeah, like I said, it's been an interesting strategy so far. I think, like I said, for the likes of Immortal and for Sam Green potentially as well, it's a one-stop type race. But for Liam, yeah, we saw him start on the soft compound tyres. I think that's meant that it's going to be a two-stop race for the Alpine driver there. 20 seconds now is the gap between himself and P2. Welshman Noddo is once again off the circuit there. Just needs to get herself back underway. Dan Murphy picks up a penalty there, unfortunately, for himself in P6. He's got himself past X Gamer though. Oh no, he hasn't. X Gamer's got himself back past as well. And here goes X Gamer and Dan Murphy into sector 2. It's going to be tight between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin. And round the outside looks to go Dan Murphy, but I think X Gamer's got him covered off for the time being. Traction up the top of the hill, and he's got himself back over the top of the hill. Very nice indeed. And X Gamer back into P6. So good stuff. And even Swanshanks is pitted for the medium compound tyres. So I think Swanshanks there looking to go long. Oh, Kydell's had a problem there coming up the top of the hill. He's dropped down to P9 behind Serious Mushroom there. He's got himself back underway. Carrots has got up into P11 there with Swanshanks' pit stop. So Swanshanks now onto the medium compound tyres. Hopefully we can get to the end. We're going to do what we're doing, 23 or 26 laps or so. Welshman Noddo is off the circuit once again there, somehow at turn 1. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how she's gone off the circuit there, to be honest. But she's back underway. And back underway is good. Here comes Jinnah now, trying to line up a move. That's a desperate move there indeed from Jinnah on reflection. Like I said, trying to get himself past the McLaren driver. Oh, it's tight indeed. Not sure who's got DRS here as well. Here comes, it's Reflection who's got the DRS here on this occasion. Into the hairpin they go. Reflection on the inside. I think he's going to keep that position as well. And Reflection now on 20 lap old medium compound tyres. Of course, he's not got the grip that Jinnah would have. As Jinnah does go try and get past into the next section. He's got himself up into P4, has Jinnah. Good stuff indeed. Of course, Reflection's tyres are much older, so will have much less grip as well. X-Gamer and Dan Murphy once again switching places into sector 2 they go. So yeah, looking good between these two in the battle as well. Of course, good drivers as well, good battlers in the race, and fair and clean battlers as well, we'd hope. But we've seen in the race itself. So looking forward to seeing what they can do from the next race, the next part of this race, of course. We've now got 25, 26 laps or so to go, as Welshman Noddo picks up a penalty there, unfortunately for her. Yellow flag in sector 1. That is Alfa Romeo. That is Swanshanks there, who's just made a pit stop, having a problem there at turn 1. Not good news for Swanshanks there, who's just had to just put a fresh set of tyres there on that Alfa Romeo. He's got himself back underway, which is good news. But yeah, like I said, lost a bit of time there to Kaz, of course, who will have to make a pit stop very soon, or in the next 5 laps or so, because of course those soft compound tyres will run out quicker in terms of the grip that they've got, that is. So they will run out quicker than the tyres around him as well. So good stuff indeed. Reflection there is still clinging onto the back here of Jinner. Jinner's not been able to get away, even though he's got 13 lap fresher tyres on his Williams than the McLaren does. He's not been able to get away from Reflection at this stage of the race so far. It's only been a couple of laps or so since the move was made. Jinner, they're going wide there, we saw at the top of the hill, and that's cost him a penalty there, unfortunately, for the Williams driver. Reflection there is sticking at the attempt for P4 there, even though those medium compound tyres I think will drop off in the next lap or two. And that will, of course, mean that he needs to come into the pits very soon. Let's have a look. We've got, like I said, 25 laps or so to go when we expect the McLaren to make his pit stop. So that will probably be another stint on the medium compound tyres, potentially, maybe even the hard compound tyres if he needs to extend it a bit further, and then of course use a bit more of the tyre life in the final stint. But let's have a look and see if taking a bit of the scenic route there, I think. He's off the circuit there, and now he's got himself back underway. Welsh Maldonado picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately, for Welsh Maldonado. That will be added on to the race time at the end of the race, that is. Serious Mushroom there, trying to line up a move now on X-Gamer, but X-Gamer has got himself back underway, thankfully. I'm not quite sure what happened there to X-Gamer. He was literally off in the grass. Literally, you couldn't see the circuit, but he's got himself back on the grey stuff, which is what you need to be on, and back underway. And I think, like I said, 11 laps as AC Immortal does make his pit stop here. He has decided to call it a day on those hard combat tyres finally. 39 laps there on the hards. Good stuff indeed from Immortal there. That's a massive stint on those hard compound tyres, and I think the mediums will be the next one to go onto that car. Let's see if Liam Muir is going to carry on and take the lead of this race. Sorry, I nearly choked on my own tongue. Liam Muir does take the lead of the race. Good stuff indeed from Liam. 22 laps there on the medium compound tyres, so once again we'll be expecting to make a pit stop very, very soon. Immortal there onto the medium compound tyres as well, comes back out in P2 ahead of Sam Green as well. Sam Green, of course, we saw battling for the lead of the race in the first stint. Unfortunately had a bit of a spin, and then he has been out of contention, well, out of the lead I should say. He's not out of contention, of course, but he's been out of the lead since that spin as well. He's only a second or so behind Immortal now, so potentially if he can cling on to that 1 second, we'll be able to use the DRS to bring himself along. Blimey, sorry about that. Had a chest infection last week, so now I'm still just recovering from the cough. But there we go, we're still all right, just about. Sam Green there he is within the 1 second window now, which is great news for the Mercedes driver and for the Mercedes team as well. Can use that DRS potentially to put himself along, get himself that extra points potentially that he can earn with the extra DRS. X-Gamer is off the circuit again, and Kaidel has gone through now. Serious Mushroom has got up to P7 there. Kaidel and P8. X-Gamer, they're having a few troubles there at the top of the hill of at the exit of turn 3, and I think that's cost him the 2 positions that have just got past him, unfortunately, in this stage of the race. But like I said, X-Gamer's got the pace to bring it back in this race. We've seen that, of course, in the qualifying and in the previous races as well. Here comes Sam Green now, as we've got a yellow flag. I think it's just somebody slowing down for the faster driver coming through. Sam Green has got the DRS there. He's not been able to maximise the extra pace there down the main straight, because he's still 8-9 tenths behind the Alpha Tauri of AC Immortal. X-Gamer picks up a 3-second penalty there as well, coming around the final couple of corners. But yeah, like I said, it's not been an easy race for anybody by any means. That is, we're literally just coming up to we're about 2.5 laps away from 2/3 distance, and we're almost there, so stay tuned. So there's still plenty of racing to come in the next few laps or so. Like I said, the normal 50% races, like the league races around here, are what are they? They're 33 laps. Well, they're 33 or 32 laps, I think they are. either one. But like I said, we've got the double the distance, of course, in the 100% league, which is the full race distance that they do in real life Formula One as well. So it just shows that the strain and the pressure that these drivers are under, even though they're just playing the game, they're not actually having to drive the cars around the circuit. It is still just as not as just as grueling, but it's just well, it is grueling and difficult, as well as just sitting there and doing it on the console. It is not fun and sunshine all the time in these 100% races, as some of the drivers will definitely vouch for. But like I said, they're doing a fantastic job of sticking in this race at this moment in time as well, and putting on a show for us and for me to commentate on as well. Reflection picks up a 5-second penalty there for speeding in the pit lane there. He's done 25 laps, like I said, on those medium compound tyres. I think potentially going on to the mediums once again would be the best call, and it looks like that is what he's going to be going on to. So the strategy here for Reflection looks like it's going to be soft, medium, medium to the end of the race from here. We'll have to see what Liam Yeo is going to do, because the Liam Yeo, I think, is on the similar sort of strategy as Reflection. As Serious Mushroom does come through. Here comes Reflection now out of the pits. He's going to be behind X Gamer there, and he's going to be coming out in P9 there into the points paying position still, going very wide there on the pit exit, on turn 1 exit, but he's got himself back underway. Yellow flags, I think it's for Welsh Maldonado there, and for X Gamer as well. I think X Gamer's off the circuit again. No, it's not. It's Kaz. No, we're back underway. I think everyone's all right. Good stuff. We're all back underway. Good stuff. Right then, X Game. We got yellow flag once again. I think it was Welsh Maldonado who needs to get herself back underway. I think just getting that Aston Martin sorted onto the track and getting going. As into the pits goes Kaz, and unfortunately AC Immortal, I think, unfortunately for Kaz, he's got the penalty. AC Immortal there sets the fastest lap of the race on lap 42. And we'll have to have a look and see what that fastest lap was. It was a 20.4 there. Liam Yeo is not far off the fastest lap. Neither is Jinner, which is good news, and neither is Kaz, to be honest, as well. So Kaz, they're very close indeed to the fastest lap point as well. Of course, any driver who finishes the race, so long as they are in the race still, will get themselves that extra point. We've got a yellow flag. I think it's for Vintage there, going a bit slow at the top of the hill there. He's got himself back underway. But yeah, I think it was Vintage there, just going a bit, having a bit of difficulty coming over the top of the hill there. He's got himself all sorted and got the car pointed in the right direction. The closest battle on track at the moment is these two here. Kydell, X Gamer, and now Serious Mushroom has been caught by the McLaren driver as well, just inside the DRS range, I think, in the detection zone here. So over the top of the hill, the DRS is available to the McLaren and to the Ferrari as well. Reflection there on the fresh mediums will be catching these battling drivers very, very soon in the next few laps or so as well. So it's going to be tight between the McLarens, between the Ferrari and the Haas as well, as they get into the next few laps or so. We are at the 2/3 race distance, as Immortal there sets the fastest lap of the race again, a 20.110. Good news indeed for Immortal, as Reflection picks up a penalty there as well. We'll have a look at the penalty situation in just a moment. But like I said, it's been a pretty good one. So it's been a good one for the penalty counters, I suppose you could say, as there's quite a few drivers with penalties at the moment. Serious Mushroom, Sam Green, and Immortal are the only drivers who do not have a penalty at this stage. Welsh Maldonado said, life's going well over here. Well, like I said, it's all a bit of training, to be fair. You're doing a good job of staying in the race, and that is all the learning curves. Into the pits goes Serious Mushroom. That is a bit of an early stop there from medium compound tyres. 18 laps on the mediums there. And like I said, Becker doing a good job there of at least being in the race, which is a lot more that can be said for some other drivers. So don't you worry. At least doing a good job of sticking at it, as the Reflection goes very, very wide at turn 1 once again. Like I said, he's trying to use the exit of turn 1, I think, to some sort of advantage. I think he's probably getting a warning for that, though. Serious Mushroom there does come out the pits. He's going to want to go onto the hard compound tyres. Maybe not got another set of mediums to spare, and he's going to come out in P9 here. So he's going to be getting those hard compound tyres warmed up is the next phase, and it is a difficult phase indeed, especially on the on this track as well. Trying to get the tyres warmed up without spinning the car is very difficult. But he's going to have one lap or so of tyre warm up to try and get those temperatures up to speed. X Gamer now is going to resume the battle with Kydell. The gap between himself and Reflection now, he's in a McLaren sandwich here, and the gap coming down to Reflection, of course, on those fresh medium compound tyres is going to be coming down at every corner. almost every corner, as he now extends the gap by just over half a tenth. But there we go. As around the final couple of corners they go, X-Gamer now is going to be trying to get past Kydell, I think, because of course what you can see is the other McLaren in his wing mirrors, and he doesn't want to be caught up in a game here between the two McLarens, trying to switch places with him in the middle as well. That's going to be very difficult indeed. So he probably wants to get himself past Kydell, up into P6 and away from the charging Reflection as well, at least for the time being. I think Reflection, those tyres will definitely come into their way and probably get himself within the battle, at least potentially get himself up into P6 as well, if he can get himself past X-Gamer and his teammate Kydell. But yeah, Reflection doing a good job in this race. Liam yet to pit at this stage of the race. Of course, we saw him on a similar sort of strategy as Reflection, but he's decided to mix that up a bit. He's carrying on at this stage. He's done 28 laps now on the medium compound tyres, so he's looking to go a bit further on this stint, I should say, than Reflection did on his mediums. So he's done 3 laps already as Reflection, and so it looks like Liam looking to extend the stint a bit further. Of course, that will mean it'll be good news, of course, for him in the final stint, that is, because he will have much fresher tyres and be able to get to the end without any worries at all. If that is he's going on to the medium compound tyres, that is. If he's trying to get to the soft compound tyres, I think he's going to have to go another 5-6 laps or so to be secure of getting himself to the finish line. We saw 17 laps there for Swan Tracks on the soft compound tyres in an earlier stint, and it didn't look good. So yeah, so I think he's going to have a few more laps to do if he's going to try and go onto the soft compound tyres at the end of this race. But there we go. So Liam looking to will be the next driver to pit. He's on the oldest tyres currently of everybody running still in this race. So he's going to have to make a pit stop very soon at some point before those tyres go pop. AC Immortal has brought the gap down now to 2.4 seconds. X-Gamer has got past Kydell. Oh, he's off wide. There's Kydell. I'm not quite sure if there was a bit of a nudge there, but X-Gamer has got the move done. Whether it was elbows out or not, we'll have to find out after the race. But X-Gamer now gets that P6 and up the top of the hill. He's lost a lot of time there once again on the traction. He's not very confident there over the top of the hill. There is X-Gamer in that Ferrari, and now Reflection has got himself back up into the order. He's in this battle now. Here is the other McLaren, and I think hopefully there'll be a bit of team orders coming into play here. We'd expect there to be with the really fast Reflection on those fresh medium compound tyres compared to the very used hard compound tyres of Kydell and X-Gamer ahead of him. So let's have a look and see what's going to happen here. Is there going to be any McLaren team orders, or is it going to be done on track? You can race, or you have to let him past, is the question. And I think Reflection has got himself past already. Into turn 1 we go. It's going to be late on the brakes. It's late on the brakes, but no, nothing doing, I should say, between Reflection and X-Gamer there. He has got himself past his teammate of Kydell. I think good team play there from Kydell, knowing that his teammate is on much faster and fresher tyres, and he'll be looking to try and get himself further up the order than Kydell can manage at this stage of the race. Of course, anything can happen later on in the race, but now into the last phase. We are probably in the last phase. We've got now 18 laps to go, or 17 and a half laps to go. Here comes Liam, still in P1. He's now got the AlphaTauri very visibly in his mirrors, but not quite within DRS range just yet. It's going to be very close indeed. 1.5 seconds is the gap there. 8 laps old medium compound tyres for AC Immortal there, and 30 laps for Liam in the Alpine. It is not going to be a contest, I don't think, if AC Immortal can get within the DRS range. But at the moment, it's looking good for Liam, at least getting a podium under his belt potentially. Ginner might have something to say about that as well, to be fair though, as Sam Green there looks like he's on for a comfortable P2, so long as the penalty situation and everything else stays as it is, that is. But at the moment, AC Immortal there is trying to gain on Liam. A Reflection of X-Gamer battling away into turn 1. Oh, it's close indeed between the two of them there. Blimey, that was a very, very late move. It looked like on the brakes there, a Reflection there stays in P2. Liam has gone off the circuit there. Has he got a puncture? That might be a puncture there for Liam there. I think those tyres have gone so long that it might be calling it a day now on those medium compound tyres. and I think that might be it for the mediums now. He can get himself onto another set of mediums. No, he's not got a puncture just yet. I think he just the tyre itself is just done and dusted, isn't it? Into the pits he goes to get a new set of boots on that Alpine. And yeah, like I said, Reflection and X Game are battling away still. It's really getting elbows out between these two. Kaidel is still within the range of this battle as well, so should Reflection get past and then drop the Ferrari as onto the softs goes Liam. Yeah, that is an interesting strategy call indeed. I think Dan Murphy will get himself up into P4 for the time being. Liam Yeh will come out in P5 on the soft compound tyres. Reflection, I think, will be lining up a move now on the main straight onto lap 49 for these guys here. We've started lap 49 for the race leaders. Here we go then down the main straight. DRS and ERS available to the McLaren, and up into P1, up into P6. Sorry, he goes into turn 1, and that is him up into the higher points paying position and up into the next echelons. Can he get himself after Liam Yeh? I think Liam Yeh coming out of the pits now on the fresh soft compound tyres will not be worried about the drivers behind him. But will X-Gamer still cause a problem for Reflection here? Into the hairpin he goes. It's deep on the brakes once again, but he's too far back this time. Reflection's got the move done. Kaidel once again going wide, unfortunately, at the exit of the hairpin, but no harm done for Kaidel. And now Reflection is going to try and get himself away from the Ferrari and his teammate behind. Can he get that DRS window open so that then that means that Kaidel can try and get a move on the Ferrari as well? Yellow flags for Welsh Maldonado, unfortunately. It's not Dan Murphy. So yeah, Welsh Maldonado, unfortunately, yellow flags for the Aston Martin once again, but back underway, thankfully, for Becker. Let's have a look, see what Liam Yeh can do now. I think Liam Yeh will be very excited about this because, of course, he has got Dan Murphy and potentially Jidder to get past to get himself onto the podium steps in this race. He's gone from P16 to currently P5, and I think it might be a P3 potentially on the cards here as well if he can get himself through the order. It will be close indeed. Reflection and the battle between Reflection and the X-Gamer and the McLarens has calmed down for this lap at least, but on to lap 50 now they go. Jenner's picked up a 3-second penalty. That might be helpful for Liam Yeh in the latter stages of the race. Of course, the penalty situation will come back to bite the drivers. Let's have a look at the penalties now. 17 seconds there for Jenner there. That is plenty of seconds for them, as we got a yellow flag, I think, for Vintage off the circuit there. Vintage, no, it's not Vintage, it's is it Jenner? Jenner's off the circuit there. Jenner's had a problem there in Sector 3. Unfortunately for Jenner, that's cost him massively. And now Liam, all over the back of the Williams driver. He's got himself up into P4 already. Jenner there, I think, might be having a problem on those tyres. Let's have a look and see what tyres he's on. 20 laps on those tyres. It should be okay. You might want to have to make a pit stop onto the soft compound tyres, just as Liam Yeh has done as well. I think it might be the right time there for the Williams to call it a day on those mediums. We might see him into the pits now. I think there he goes into the pit lane as Liam Yeh sets the fastest lap of the race on lap 50 and 19.330. That is almost 8 tenths faster than the medium time of AC Immortal, the current race leader on those medium compound tyres when they were fresher. Oh, over the bumps there goes Liam. That's not going to be very helpful for his car, but he's within DRS range now of Dan Murphy for P3. Jenner into the pits. He's on to the soft compound tyres. He's going to come out ahead of Serious Mushroom. He's into P8 now, is Jenner, and of course serving those penalties as well. I think there's a penalty that he has served, so it's now 12 seconds now for Jenner, which is much better than 17. But of course now coming out of the pits, he's got a 14-second gap to try and eat into, but he's got plenty of laps to do it in. He's got 15 laps to go. Can he get a second a lap? He might be able to catch up to the back of these drivers here if he can get. I think the delta will definitely be within his favour, especially for the first half of those laps as well. 7 or 8 laps. I think the softs will definitely be much faster. Here comes Liam Yeh now, trying to line up a move on Dan Murphy for the final podium place on track. That is, penalty situation would be in Dan's favour, but of course if Liam Yeh can use those softs to his advantage, he might be able to eke out a 3-second gap as well to keep that P3 and potentially get past keep that P3 on track as well once the penalties have been added up. Here comes Liam Yeh down he's got the inside, he's got the move done already on Dan Murphy on the Aston Martin before the braking zone of turn 1. Up into P3 is Liam Yeh. Fantastic stuff indeed. He's got himself from P16 on the grid up to P3 with a 2-stop strategy. Looking good indeed so far. Let's hope he can keep it up for the next 14 laps or so. Reflection, Kaidel and X-Gamer and Kaidel, I should say, now battling away. I think they've been dropped by a Reflection just now. Just outside the DRS range is the first McLaren driver on track. And now Kaidel and X-Gamer are resuming their battle. Jinner now will be trying to get himself excited, trying to get himself caught up to this battle to see if he can pick up any pieces as well. X-Gamer's off the circuit. Oh dear, what's happened there to X-Gamer? He's had a problem there at the top of the hill. He's put the power down too hard, too quickly, I should say, that is. And that's cost him a spin, unfortunately, for X-Gamer at the top of the hill. And that is not good news indeed for the Ferrari driver. That is out. He's out of the battle between the McLaren drivers and now in P7 on his own for the time being, that is. But Jinner now, I think, will be much more enticed to get himself further up the order, put the power down, and put the pace on those soft compound tyres to get himself into the upper echelons of the points. Let's see what he can do in his final stint then. Liam Yeh sets the fastest lap once again, a 19.012 on lap 52. I'm just making a mental note of that because, of course, I have to try and remember which lap it was that they got the fastest lap point on. But at the moment, Liam Yeh looking good indeed on those soft compound tyres. He is almost 3 seconds ahead of Dan Murphy as well, which is very good news indeed for Liam. If he can get that gap to 3 seconds, he can keep that P3 with the penalties added on to the race as well. So good news indeed. Let's see what he can do now as the rest of the race unfolds. Jinner there sets the fastest lap at an 18.663 there. Even better there from Jinner on lap 52 as well. The Williams driver doing a great job there on those soft compound tyres. Slightly fresher there than Liam's, but of course having made a stop a bit later. But of course setting a good time there indeed. That's almost a qualifying lap time indeed from the Williams driver of Jinner. Good stuff from him. He needs to make sure he keeps it on the track, though. He looks like it was almost losing control of the car there, but thankfully he got it underway, and everything is a-okay for the time being. Like I said, we've got now almost 11 laps. We've got 12 laps or so to go in this one. It's coming towards the last few laps now of this one. We've seen ACM Auto do about 40 laps now on the hard compound tyres, so I'd expect Kaidel and X-Gamer to be able to get to the end of the race on those tyres. So I don't think there's going to be a problem not too much of a problem for those guys. The question is where Jinner's going to come into the fray as well. He is gaining so much time per lap on these drivers ahead of him. Of course, on hard compound tyres, on medium compound tyres, and him on the fresh soft compound tyres. He just needs to make sure he can get himself to the line. Of course, the penalty situation will come back. Unfortunately, not in X-Gamer's favour. It's not in his favour. So if he can get within 1 second of X-Gamer, he can get that P7. But for Kaidel, he's only got 3 seconds of penalty, so he's going to have to get 9 seconds at least ahead of Kaidel. And Reflection there, he needs to get within 2 seconds of as well to be able to keep that position as well should he overtake. So there, the penalty situation will come back to bite Jinner, I think, because he's picked up quite a few, but he's looking good at the moment to finish the race in the points paying positions. Yeah, sorry. We are 5/6 of the way through. We're on lap 55 now. Sorry about that. I'm almost dying in this commentary box, but like I said, it's been a good race so far. Yeah, it's been an enjoyable one. Unfortunately, there's been a few mistakes and a few difficulties for some drivers, but it's been really good from the drivers who've been able to carry on to get to the end of this race. So yeah, fantastic stuff indeed from the likes of Welsh Maldonado, from Kaz, from Swanshanks and Vintage, who have had a bit of difficulties at the back as well, but kept on going, and even though they're not in the points just yet, potentially that could change. So like I said, we'll have to bear with us and wait and see how it all unfolds. Jinner there is bringing the gap down. It's now 3.3 seconds to X-Gamer. It is getting closer and closer indeed. The problem is the longer this stint goes on, of course, the quicker those soft compound tyres will wear out. Of course, the hard compound tyres are probably not too great at the moment, but they'll probably be able to get to the end of the race still at this stage. So yeah, Jinner needs to make sure he keeps the tyres within the boundaries as he goes wide there again at turn 1. but it keeps it within the boundary so that he can use some of the extra performance from those soft compound tyres at the end of the race rather than using it all up now and wearing the tyres out too quickly. I think that might be what he's trying to do. The gap has stabilised now to about 3 seconds, 3.2 seconds between the Ferrari and the Williams for now. So yeah, we'll come back to that one in the next few corners. Out in front though, we've got AC Immortal there. He's just lapping a Haas of Serious Rushmore, I think. But AC Immortal there doing a fantastic job in the lead of this race. He's had a bit of competition there from Sam Green. Unfortunately for Sam Green, one mistake there has cost him the lead of the race, and I think potentially it could have been a win as well, because it wasn't that far off. He was about 5 seconds or so away ahead of Immortal when the spin did happen, and it cost him quite a lot of time as well. X Gamer's had a problem. No, it's not X Gamer, it's Kaz. Kaz coming out the top of the hill. He's got himself back underway, thankfully, which is good news for Kaz. He can get himself back into the fray. Looks like the front wing is all intact as well on that Ferrari, so it might have been just a bit of a spin there, but everything is now okay. Good stuff indeed. The gap now, Jinner and X Gamer, is 2.6, 2.7. It's coming down still, so Jinner needs to. X Gamer needs to be very aware of that Williams there. That's going to be looming in his mirrors in the next few corners. We're on to lap 56, and now 10 laps to go in this race. Oh, blimey, I need a rest after this one. I said I've been off ill for a week, and then I've gone back to work, and it's been full on at work trying to catch up with everything, and now I've got this to catch up on as well, pretty much. I'm losing my breath as we commentate on this, but Vintage now into the pits there. He's called it a day on those medium compound tyres. I think maybe going for an extra point here for the fastest lap, if he can grab that as well. If he goes onto the soft compound tyres, that is, would be my advice anyway, as into the pits he goes for the Williams team. Let's see what he's going to go on to. I think Swanshanks might get that P10 position. He has done for the time being. Of course, onto the soft compound tyres goes Vintage, which means that he's going to be pretty quick indeed in the last few laps. And maybe Swanshanks will be under a bit of pressure from the Williams driver with those soft compound tyres now fully up to speed in the next few corners. Of course, the soft compound tyres take so much less time to warm up than the likes of the hards and the mediums, etc. So yeah, it's a lot easier for the soft compound tyres to get switched on from the pit lane than it is for anything more durable. That of course is a lot harder to break down. Jinner now 1.6 behind X Gamer. He's really going to bring the gap down quickly now. I think it's time for Jinner to start making his move through if he can. That is because of course I think the penalty situation again will change at the end of the race when it all gets taken into account. We'll have to look at the penalty situation exactly for the review as well. But no, I think everything else is okay. Bear me 1 second. I'm trying to find what's going on here. I think Imabro's had a setup glitch as well, apparently. So that is why he has had to, why he has basically unfortunately had to stop racing in this race. He looks like. But thankfully he's got himself thankfully hopefully he can get it resolved for the next race, that is. Yeah, thankfully he has given us the reason why he had to stop racing in this one as well. But there we go. Right, good news. We're on to lap 58. So Jinner is now within the DRS range of the Ferrari of X Gamer. This is when it's going to get interesting here. Oh, he needs to make sure he keeps it on the circuit there. It's very easy to spin the car if you go over those curbs. He's now within the DRS detection point of the Ferrari, within that 1 second window. Now down the main straight, you can see the pace gain. He's using the ERS as well, and into turn one we go. Oh, there's a bit of here you can see the turbulence coming off the back, or the dirty air coming off the back of that Ferrari as we go into turns 2 and 3 as well. Now DRS again for Jinner, this time at the top of the hill down towards the hairpin of turn 4. Can he make any moves into the hairpin? It's going to be late on the brakes, but he's got to be too far back at this stage of the race, or the lap, that is. But now I think it's going to be when rather than if Jinner is going to get past the Ferrari. It's going to be very soon indeed. I think the DRS is going to be very easy to get himself past on those fresher soft compound tyres as well. Oh, it's going to be squirrely at the top of the hill. That is not good news for the Williams. That is going to be extra tyre wear as well, because of course the more you're weaving about, the quicker your tyres will wear as well, especially if you're having problems trying to keep the car pointing in the right direction, that is. But there's a 3 second gap then to Jinner, then to Kydell. which potentially could be achievable for the soft compound tyres of Ginner. Han Murphy is going to be in P4, I think, because it looks like Liam Yeo's checked out. He's got an 11.5 second gap on those soft compound tyres, albeit 10 lap old soft compound tyres now. They might drop off towards the end. Let's have a look and see what Ginner's going to be doing here, though. Up to the line, it's going to be very close indeed before they cross the start-finish line. Oh, a very late move there indeed from Ginner. That was a bit excessive, and again, a bit more excessive, but I don't know what he's trying to do there. He's got himself past nonetheless. He probably could have got himself past a bit as Ginner picks up another penalty there, unfortunately going wide at turn 1 once again. Yeah, Ginner there, I think, having a bit of problems there, just keeping the car and pointing in the right direction there. It looked like he was almost trying to push X Gamer off the road there at some point, but managing to get past nonetheless, and X Gamer there slotting back into P8. Of course, I think he's aware of the penalty situation for Ginner as well, which means that he'll be able to get that position back as well if he can stay within a couple of seconds of the Williams driver that's just got past him as well. So it's not all doom and gloom there for X Gamer. He can still get himself some points in this one. Up the top of the hill once again they go. It looks like Welshman are just letting through the faster drivers as well coming through now. Vintage has got a 7.7 second gap to Swanshanks there for the final points paying position. The penalty situation though is not in Vintage's favour. He's got 4 seconds as well, so he needs to get himself he needs to get himself about 4.5 seconds ahead of Swanshanks if he wants to get himself that extra point for P10, that final points paying position. Will we see him be able to achieve that, though, is the other question. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to find out. X Gamer has done a good job of sticking within the DRS range of the Williams of Ginner for the time being. That is going to be helpful for him, of course, later on in the race. If he can stick within the 2-second window that we saw with the penalty situation, then that will bring him back into P7 at least, and that will be in his favour, of course, as well. Vintage there pushing on in the other Williams, looking to try and get himself back into the top 10 as well. It's now 7.2 seconds the gap, but we're on to lap 61 here, so there is only 6.5 laps left for Vintage himself, but there is now six and a bit. Oh no, is there 6 laps? 6 laps left for AC Immortal in total. So there we go then. Good stuff indeed. Blimey, we're almost there. What a race it's been. Like I said, it's been an exciting one, but actually what I would like to point out as well is that there's not been any weather changes, firstly, which is thankful, because of course when it gets all rainy, then it takes a bit longer to do the lap, doesn't it? Which means that we're all sitting here for a bit longer as well. But also what I would like to point out, I probably will jinx it now, but there's not been any safety cars either as well, so it's been absolutely pleasure to have a race without any safety cars as well. So yeah, everyone's done a fantastic job of keeping it clean and keeping it as tidy as possible. Albeit it's quite an easy one to make mistakes at. We've seen a few mistakes in this race as well. That's not taking anything away from the drivers who have put in a good show. The 13 drivers that are still going in this race as well, out of the 18 that started. Unfortunately, all 5 of the drivers that have not finished the race already have pit and quit for various reasons as well. Technically, Sickers Muck didn't pit and quit. He had a drive-through penalty for a jump start, and then that was he decided not to serve that within the first 3 laps. AC Immortal picks up a 3-second penalty. That could be interesting there for Sam Green there. Sam Green is 6.4 behind. If he can get within 3 seconds of AC Immortal, he could get the win here. Potentially with AC Immortal's tyres, will they start dropping off quickly? We saw AC Immortal do about 40 laps on the hard, so maybe they'll be all right. Will the mediums be able to get past 25 laps or so to get themselves to the end? Swanshanks there gets up to 25 laps now as he starts lap 62 as well. I think he actually starts lap 61. I'm not quite sure. Vintage there is now 6.7 behind. He's not bringing the gap down quickly enough, I don't think, to get himself back within the top 10 positions. Unfortunately, at this phase, let's have a look at the fastest lap point. It is currently Ginner still with an 18.663. I think that was lap 52 that was set. So that was good. That's going to be an extra point, of course, for Ginner as well when he does cross the line, whichever position he finishes in. Yellow flag, sector 1. I think it's just the Aston Martin of Welsh Madnana getting out of the way of these drivers here coming through. X Gamer has lost the 2-second gap that he needs to Ginner to keep within that P7 mark. but potentially that might come back to him. Of course, the soft compound tyres, we don't know how long they're going to last for. Kaidel and Jinner trying to switch places once again. Jinner into the hairpin this time. Again, it's been quite erratic movements from the Williams, but he's managing to keep the car in the right direction. As it looks like Welshman Notto is slowing down once again, but nonetheless, we're still going in this one. Over the top of the hill, here comes Jinner. He's going to make the move on Kaidel. He's already made the move on Kaidel. He's got the Williams up into P6 there. Fantastic stuff indeed. And a great move indeed from Jinner, and I think Kaidel there. Those tyres are they just weren't able to compete there on that on the traction zone, and unfortunately for Kaidel there, it's him dropping down to P7 now, and Jinner up into P6 there. That'll be good news indeed for Jinner. Of course, he needs to create that gap that he can with the penalty situation, of course, and I think he's got to have a nice little helping of DRS as well down the main straight from this Ferrari. Which will help him slightly extend the gap as well. But yeah, like I said, Jinner's got quite a lot of penalties there that will be added up at the end of the race and added on to his race time as well. So yeah, we'll have to factor that in, of course, when he does cross the line. But at the moment, Sam Green, I think, has been enticed a little bit by the penalty situation for. Has he got a puncture? Is that a puncture there? No, it's just the turbulence or the air effect coming off the back of the Mercedes there. I thought it was a puncture there with the tyre flapping around all over the place, but no, he's still going, thankfully. Yeah, like I said, the 3-second penalty for Immortal doesn't look like it's going to affect him at this stage of the race. He's on to lap 64. There is literally 2 and a bit laps or so to go for the race leaders. Liam Beard done a fantastic job. He's my driver of the day candidate. We'll have a look at the position changes quickly. But up 30 positions there is Liam Beard onto the podium places from 16th on the grid. That is definitely going to be my candidate for driver of the day. Reflection also with a fantastic shout there as well from P17 there, wasn't it? From P17 to P5 as well. Good stuff for him. And of course, Serious Mushroom there doing a good job as well from the back of the grid, P18 to P9 as well, getting himself back into the points, as we are very familiar with as well. But at the moment, we'll have a look at the penalty situation, shall we? There we go. At the moment, this is the penalty situation as it stands. Reflection has got 14 seconds, so he will lose out to his teammate, and I think that is all he will lose out to be honest, because Jinner has got 15 seconds and the X-Gamer has got 13 seconds. All of them will finish ahead of Serious Mushroom as well at the moment, because Serious Mushroom is too far back as it stands, but I think these 4 will shuffle around a bit, with Kaidel taking P5 when they do cross the line. Dan Murphy is in a race of his own at the moment as Jinner picks up yet another penalty. That is not good news. It is good news for X-Gamer though, because he might be able to get that P7 back, which is interesting for the Ferrari team. As Jinner is off the circuit, he's just gone off. I think that's a bit of there's a half spin there on the traction there coming out of the hairpin. Welshman Notto picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is not good news for Welshman Notto. I think she's just coming to the pits to go onto the soft compound tyres and set the fastest lap of the race potentially. But there we go, as Jinner there has dropped down to P8. Of course, he's pushing the car too hard now, isn't he? Here, he just needs to make sure he brings the car home, because he's got points on offer here, regardless of where he finishes in this race. He needs to make sure he just finishes and crosses the line. He has got the gap there to Serious Mushroom to at least get 4 points on the board for himself and for Williams. But I think he's probably a bit angry there at the situation there, having lost out to X-Gamer as well as Kaidel in the mid part of the lap. Here he comes now with DRS available on the Ferrari. It's going to be another move into turn 1 here, and he has made the move. I think it's going to be close indeed between these two still to the finish line. But like I said, with the penalty situation as well, Jinner. What's happening? What's going on there? That is interesting strategies to make a move, but he's made the move nonetheless as X-Gamer, trying to get himself back up into P7 there, but he's going to get P7 like I said anyway, because of course the penalties are outweighed for Jinner in this situation there. So yeah, nonetheless they keep themselves going again. Unfortunately, Kaz there I think picked up a penalty as well, which is not good news for him, but nonetheless he carries on. Indeed, another good performance there from from Kaz. AC Immortal there is on the final lap. We'll stay on board with AC Immortal there for the next few corners as he's going to complete the final lap, lap 66 of the Portimao circuit there. Another fantastic race from Immortal. We're going to have to try and get some competition in for him as well, because it looks like he's just storming away there with the victories. But another fantastic race indeed. A one-stop strategy as well from Immortal there. 40 laps on the hard compound tyres and then the remainder on the medium compound tyres as well. It's been an absolutely epic race from him as well. Once again, as it looks like the Aston Martin of Welsh Maldonado is having a few problems again. But here comes AC Immortal now round the final couple of corners to win the Portuguese Grand Prix for round 7 of the ALR 100% League. What a victorious race that has been for the AlphaTauri driver as he crosses the line there. P1 once again for the AlphaTauri team and for AC Immortal. Good stuff indeed. Another victory under his belt in this season so far. Only 7 rounds done, but he's already got a couple of victories under his belt as well. Good stuff indeed from him. 3.1 seconds in the end was the gap between himself and Sam Green with the penalty for AC Immortal. That is good news for Sam Green. A really good race indeed for him as well, equaling his best result of the season as well. Fantastic stuff indeed for the Mercedes driver. Liam Yeh crosses the line in P3, and that is definitely a podium that is worthy of a driver of the day performance in my eyes as well. P3 from P16 on the grid. Fantastic stuff indeed. 5-second penalty there added on to Swanshanks' time for an unserved 5-second penalty there, but it's not going to affect him, I don't think, as he does finish in the final points paying position. Dan Murphy in P4, another great drive indeed from P13 on the grid. Reflection will cross the line, I think, in P5, but it will be P6 there for Kydell. P5 for Kydell, because of course the penalty situation will be in his favour. Jenner's going to cross the line in P8 in the end, as X Gamer does get P7 once again, and then we've got just Kaz there to cross the line in P12 as well. Blimey, it's been one hell of a race that has. That has been really good indeed. AC Immortal, Sam Green and Liam Yeh are your podium sitters. We'll quickly just try and get them into the party before AC. Oh. Oh dear, why is this being so horrible? There we go. AC Immortal. There we go. There we are then. That is what a race that has been indeed. And like I said, we've just got through the classification indeed there. Kaz crosses the line there in P12. Yeah, we'll have a look at the classification indeed at the end of the race. Driver of the day from the game is Liam Yeh, and I'd have to say driver of the day as well for myself is Liam Yeh as well. He's done a fantastic job there from P16 on the grid. Really well done indeed. AC Immortal there, of course, is the winner of the Portuguese Grand Prix for round 7, that is. And yeah, good stuff indeed from AC Immortal. He's done a fantastic job in this race. Sam Green there in P2, and Liam Yeh gets the final podium place after starting 16th on the grid, as we're just watching the celebrations there in the stands as well. We'll just get the mics all sorted as well. I need to sort my mic out. I don't know. Kaz has left the session there, but Kaz done a good job of sticking in this race. As good stuff indeed. The champagne has been sprayed. Everybody is happy, and there we go then. And like I said, we'll just get the mic sorted, and there we go. We'll have a quick look at the classifications as well. But bear me 1 second whilst we get the audio sorted. Cool. No, that's not cool. We don't want that. We want this. Right then, here you go. There's the classification there for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Yamad, Bro, Sick as Muck, Ollie, Hungry Stars and Scooby Stew all DNF'd. Unfortunately, did not take part in most of this race. Welsh Maldonado finally finished in P13, Kaz in P12, Vintage in P11. In the points, Swanshanks got the last point as well, just ahead of Vintage. Shearer's Mushroom in P9, Ginner in P8 with fastest lap as well. X Gamer in P7, Reflection in P6, Kydell P5, Dan Murphy in P4. Liam Yeh was your third place podium sitter, Sam Green in P2, and AC Immortal your winner for the Portuguese Grand Prix. and I think I've been joined. Have I been joined? Has anybody joined me?
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, somebody join me. I don't think AC Immortals joined me, so we'll start with Sam. So Sam, how was that for yourself? I think you were in command of the race at one point in the first stint on the medium compound tyres, and I think you had a bit of a spin. Was that right?
Yeah, just a bit. Other than that spin, I'm gutted and really happy at the same time. Just a bit too much curb. Second I hit it, I thought, oh, this ain't going to end well. Luckily, it was a nice spin, if that makes sense. I wasn't facing completely backwards, so I managed to get a little bit back up and running. So, yeah, if that hadn't happened, maybe 5-6 seconds that I was behind could have had a bit more of a, what's it called, grandstand finish. But yeah, I'm happy with second.
Yeah, and with the penalty at the end, did you think that potentially you might be able to sneak back in there and get the win on the with the 3 seconds that Immortal picked up?
Yeah, I clocked it. He was working through some traffic, so getting a bit of DRS, so he flew away. But then I was eking a couple of tenths a lap, and it got to about 6.5 seconds, and then obviously the penalty. And I thought, oh, hang on, is he struggling on those mediums? I know what they were like on my first stint at the end. They were grim. Other than that, they were brilliant. But yeah, he probably saved a bit more ERS than myself, and pace was exactly the same. So yeah, small bit of hope for maybe a lap or two, but no, he had good enough pace to stay well ahead.
On to the next one then, and we've got Canada next week. There's a bit of preparation as well, because I think Canada next week for the 100% league is the race before for the for gold, silver, and bronze as well. So Canada will be after the 100% league in terms of the 3 divisions as well. So a bit of practice potentially for next week. What's your thoughts on Canada as well? We were predicted rain today as well. I heard in the comment section, but we didn't get it in the end. Do you expect rain in Canada next week?
Yeah, it's one of them. When I've done league races in the past, I've not really enjoyed it, so I'm not hoping for anything similar today, where my pace felt really good. Yeah, it's Canada. It's not a track that suits myself, so yeah, if it rains, it rains. It might benefit me. Who knows?
There you go. There's some positivity in there as well. But yeah, fingers crossed we can see you back on the podium again for next week. But well done indeed for P2 tonight as well. And then we've got Liam, yeah, from P16 on the grid to P3. I think that's probably the most positions gained in terms of getting on the podium in the 100% league so far. I'd have to double check the stats. But yeah, a great race from yourself. How was you feeling in the first few laps when we saw you get up to sort of P5, P6, P5 in the first few laps on the soft stint?
Yeah, everyone kept spinning around me, so I was just picking people off left, right, and centre. So yeah, that made it a bit easier. But yeah, I just wanted to do something different, because this game was just full of medium hard or hard medium, whatever, like every single week. So I thought I'd just do something different, do 2-stop, have a bit of fun, and yeah, went alright.
Well, it looks like a few people will be doing the 2-stop next week, from next week onwards anyway, because it seems to work. So yeah, not too bad in the end. And then of course, I didn't think I don't think you had the pace on those mediums at the end to get after Sam for P2. But you did a good job there of getting ahead of Dan Murphy and then securing that podium as well for the Alpine team. I think that's your best result of the season, if I'm not too wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to seeing what you can do in Canada. What's your thoughts for next week as well then?
Well, I've got to work on the penalty situation, because Canada is obviously notorious for picking up penalties, and you know the top 2 didn't pick up anything, or you know AC Immortal picked up that one at the end, but Sam had none at all, and you know you just aren't going to win races, or you know fight for the top positions if you're picking up penalties, and that's what it could come down to next week. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, well, Canada is not a difficult one to pick up penalties, is it? So, so yeah, we'll probably see quite a few people picking up a few there. But nonetheless, well done tonight as well. I think it wasn't too many penalties for yourself, so there's nothing too bad to be upset about. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. What all the drivers can do, of course, next week in Canada. We'll be back for Sunday night. We've got gold coming back to Azerbaijan in a couple of days' time. Sunday 7:30, and then of course Monday for silver and Tuesday for bronze as well, before we're back in the 100% distance league with Canada next week on Wednesday. So stay tuned to ALR. We've got plenty more stuff coming up for you in the next few days, and we'll see you soon.